Welcome to A Moment in Time with Taylor. Thank you for being here. Please check out our website, femyoga.com. If you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Taylor. Feel free to follow. We are live on this channel every single day with positive content to help you reach your health, wealth, and relationship goals. I've been really excited about doing this broadcast. I finally figured out all of that stuff I couldn't figure out in our last investment broadcast, which was called, I believe, Debt Management and Pricing. We talked about management. We talked about management. And then when we got into the management numbers, it was way over my head, and I had to consult my gurus to figure out what was I trying to teach here, because I am learning this right alongside with you guys from this book called Invested by Danielle and Phil Town. You may recognize the name Phil Town because he is pretty well known in the stock investment world. Thank you, Joe, for the first super hearts of this broadcast. I will say hi to everyone. Just give me a minute to kind of spit this out for the replay viewers. And this book is all about investing in stocks, and you may have heard of Phil Town because he has his own book called Rule Number One Investing, which is based on Warren Buffett's philosophy of rule number one of investing, which is don't lose money. And that's what we're looking at here in this book is Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett's investment strategies. If you don't know who those guys are, they work and basically own Berkshire Hathaway, which is a very successful and very wealthy investment firm. Hey everyone, hi! Let me say hi to everybody real quick. And actually, even before we get into the content, I am going to say a quick thank you to everyone that contributed to the channel yesterday. We did end up having a match day sponsor. It was a pretty low match day, not quite our lowest ever. So I want to say a special thank you to everyone who was able to get to the website, yesterday and click support and keep this channel going and growing with their contributions, just like Scott is right now. Scott, thank you for the super hearts. How are you? Mystique in the house. Mystique's already on this list of supporters from the last 30 days. I think down here somewhere. Hey. First come to the broadcast was Donna. How are you, Donna? Donna has been trying to sign up for monthly sponsorships for like, how long, Donna? 4 months or so, 3 months. And every month, she just does a one-time sponsorship by accident. And Tyler, thank you for the super waves, Tyler. Appreciate that. And then yesterday, I got an amazing PayPal email. It was like, you have a new payment profile, which is what the email says when I get a monthly sponsorship. And it was friggin' Donna. Round of applause for Donna. Her username is Reed Dexter. Give it up for her. She figured out how to do monthly sponsorships to the channel. Made me so happy. And she contributed a total of $50 yesterday, just like Finley did, who's another one of our monthly sponsors. I see her there on my screen. Hello, beauties. Not investment meth, investment math. Hi, James. How are you? James is also a $50 monthly or $50 sponsor. He's not on the monthly, but he contributes almost every month on his own. Hey, Seppi, how are you? My favorite Joe. And and you sent the first super hearts of this broadcast. So that makes you even more my favorite, Joe. Hey, Night of Attic. Chased Bad, how do you give money? It's through PayPal here, or you can do through Super Hearts on Periscope. We are live on YouTube and Twitch as well, I think. I haven't seen any comments come in over there. We are getting closer and closer. We're like 800 something hours from our YouTube goal of monetizing. So if you guys watch over on YouTube, that actually helps me out a lot. It doesn't cost you a thing. But if you watch there instead of Twitch or Periscope, it does help us get closer to that monetization goal so we can get funds coming from that avenue as well, so we can really work towards our goal here of 24/7 live content. Canada. Thank you, John. Are they brothers or dad and son? Danielle is actually a girl, so it's actually his daughter. Good question. Sorry, I forgot to mention that part. Spend less than you make, put the rest in an index fund. You can if you're only trying to offset inflation. The goal here is to make a return on your investment. Who just sent that super heart? Was that Brian? Thank you for the super, Brian. I appreciate that. How are you today, Brian? I haven't seen everyone in a while. I wasn't live very much this weekend. Hi, Dylan. You invest in laughter. Me too. I actually love stand-up comedy a lot. A lot. I don't know why I'm not funnier, but I do love stand-up comedy. Finally, Taylor talking about stocks. Finally. I talk about this all the time. Hi, John. I'm actually really interested in investing. Right now, I think that could become a kind of like a specialized form of content that we do on this channel, more financial, economic type content. We've explored that. We've talked about wealth goals, but I'm on my own financial journey. So we first were talking about, how do you handle saving money, budgeting, basic things. And then once you have money in your savings account and you realize 3% every year is pretty much gone due to inflation, you try to say, okay, well, how can I protect my money, at least get it to keep its value, like what James is talking about with index funds, or potentially even have that money work for you and grow into a bigger amount without you having to do physical labor to make it happen. Although it does take a lot of mental labor, it does take a lot of hours of work to decide and research into the companies that you're going to invest in, which we've talked about already. We've worked through a lot of these chapters already in the past few episodes of this series. So hopefully you can find those in the replays, probably easier on YouTube than on Periscope, but it is all based on investing. So I think investing is in all the titles, or invested, the word invest, hopefully. What's up? I'm good, Brian. I'm good. Sorry, I'm like very talkative tonight. When I don't broadcast as much for a couple of days, I get really I just want to say every little thing. Most people don't. Most people don't what? I know about time I get some super hearts. I'm slow. No, thank you. I love that. Thank you, Roll Smoke. I appreciate that. You're a breath of rolled smoke. Long-term investing, I would assume. Yeah, it's pretty much buy and hold investing, but you have to know when to sell, which is pretty much the final chapter of the book. So we might get to that if we really get on a roll here and we get to the end of the book during this broadcast, which would probably take us a few hours. Thank you for the Super Brians, top contributor of Super Hearts in this broadcast, Brian Red Lightning. Appreciate you. So we'll see if we get there and when to sell. But we're still talking about how to pick what you're going to buy. Hey, Owen. Hi. So we talked about circle of competence, trying to figure out if you can understand the company and the industry so that you can do the necessary research to pick companies that you like, that are aligned with your core values and what you look for in a company and in a business. Hey, Livity. We talked about, and that was the first principle. So that was Charlie Munger's first principle, is make sure that it's something you're capable of understanding. Hey, Alexis. Cinnamon in the house. Where's my wings? Over there somewhere. Mostly it's luck. I bought Apple at $20, subsequently split. Only mistake was not buying enough. Okay, so what did you do first before buying it? Because if you just like randomly buy it, it's absolutely gambling. Warren Buffett said the only way investing is gambling is if you're ignorant. So ignorance is gambling. Now we're gonna go over a lot of numbers tonight. I have like full spreadsheets going on this. Let's make sure I have it up, so we can kind of look at some of the numbers. We've been working with Twitter's numbers. This spreadsheet makes me so happy because it took me a really long time to make it, and there's more information if you scroll down, and there's other sheets on this page, and there's just so much to cover in this broadcast. I'm so friggin' excited. I love bringing you guys highly valuable content that's actually gonna make you money, or potentially make you money. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't have a college degree in finance, but I do love to read. I read a new book every week, and this book totally fired me up. And we've been researching Twitter now for 1 to 2 months, and we've learned a lot about the executive team, about the board of directors, about how things are run at Twitter, about what kinds of things have been changing lately, what businesses they've acquired, what's done well, what hasn't. We talked a lot about live streaming. Yes, I do use the Robinhood app. So Robinhood is in a brokerage account. It's a place you can put money into so that you can buy stocks, and it's actually free, so they don't charge you a fee for your buys. I used Apple products and liked them. The company had faltered, but jobs came back. Yeah, so that's pretty basic investing. Like, that's what I did when I bought Twitter in 2017, in August of 2017, which now it's up almost 100% from the price I bought it at in just over a year. However, it was totally luck. I liked the company. I used it. I thought, yeah, James said I figured he could turn it around. Yeah, like, same kind of thing with me. I was just kind of got lucky with a company that I liked and trusted myself. However, I like this method a lot better, and looking at the numbers that I ran over this weekend, I would actually not buy Twitter today at the price that it is today. I would wait for the price to drop quite a decent amount, probably like 30% from where it is now, and that'd be the max price I'd be willing to pay for it right now. Do I know options? No, I don't. I mainly know everything this book has told me, so if you disagree with Phil Town or Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger or Danielle Town or any of this information, I'm just going to go ahead and blame it on them, because I'm pretty much giving you guys a very, very in-depth book review, but teaching you the practical pragmatic use of the information in this book. Hey Donna, thanks for watching on YouTube. Sorry, I had minimized that window. Hey Trapper, thank you guys for watching on YouTube. All right, so we talked about the first principle. You got to understand the company. We talked about and then you research it. So you read all the reports, the annual reports, the quarterly reports. You listen to the quarterly conference calls. You Google the company and see what kind of news you can find out about them. Look up the different executives, board of directors. Excuse me. Check out what patents they have. Like, really dive in and know this company and feel like you understand really what this company is all about and what they're trying to accomplish. A great disclaimer. It's literally finance. Any picks in mind? Right now we're studying Twitter, but the beauty of this is that what I'm trying to create here is basically a system. So a system from the information in this book that I can now just plug other companies into. So you kind of got a peek at my spreadsheet, so you can see net profit, revenue, equity, operating cash, equity plus debt, return on equity, depreciation, amortization, accounts receivable, accounts payable, income tax, and those are all pieces of information from the financial statements of any publicly traded company. And you can look back maybe 10 years, depending. Now, if you kind of look at my numbers here, they're a little sketchy before 2014 because the company went public in 2013, which is something I discovered in my research. I didn't realize it had only been public for about 5 years. Yeah, I bought Twitter at $18. High five, we win. If you guys don't know, Twitter is about $32 last time I checked, $32.64 or something like that. So that was a good choice for us so far, as long as you still have it. So you've doubled your money. What do you think about selling half of what you have so that you have the rest of your investment free? That's a strategy that one of my mentors had suggested to me, and I kind of like it, and I might do that myself when it hits 36, if it hits 36. Hey, Saul, and if it goes down, I'm happy too, because then I'll buy more. What's up, Saul? Good to see you. Good to see you. So the idea is that we're going to be able to apply this system to any company, but it still requires all that research that I just mentioned, reading the reports, really diving in, reading the letters to the shareholders, being in touch, in tune with what's going on with that company, because you want to be prepared for an event. If an event happens that causes the price to drop, you might want to buy it. If an event happens that causes the price to spike, you might want to sell it. So we're not day trading here, but you still want to be at least quarterly checking on the companies, if not more frequently than that. So you want to be kind of abreast of the news. And that's why we look at specific one company at a time, as opposed to just buying into the S&P market, just saying, okay, whatever the market does in general, we're trying to find companies that have the potential to return a lot more, but over the long haul, not like this week or this month or even this year, but potentially 8 to 10 years from now, until you really, are making a good return on your investment. Hey Jack, those are this here are the sponsors of this channel over the last 30 days. Alex, spasiba, привет. Thank you for the super hearts. I think patience is something people do not do and just jump into purchasing a stock. That could be bad depending on what the company does and what their goals are. Yeah, Trapper, definitely. So that's the beauty of this. So you research it. When you'll either decide this company is way too boring or too hard to understand, or you don't like it for some reason, and you don't want to look into it, and you just cross it off your list. You'll find some, maybe like I did with Twitter, that you love this company. You're like, yes, this company is everything. And you're ready to buy it because you just think it's so awesome, and then you realize that the price, when you do the actual valuation, is not a good price for what you're getting for it. Even though it's a good company, it's got to be the right price, right? So say I think that my iPhone 7 Plus is a great product. It's a great value. I love this product. However, I'm not willing to pay any amount of money for it. I'm not going to pay $1,000 for it. I'm only going to pay a reasonable price. And it's the same thing with stock. I'm not going to pay more than it's worth. Especially because I'm trying to make money off of it. Now, in this case, I make money off of the phone as well. But a lot of times, it's different than just buying something. So it wasn't a great analogy, but it kind of was, because I do make money off my phone. Anyway, P/E ratio. We will talk about estimated P/E ratio, but that's going to be the third form of pricing that we discuss. So we will get to that, which is price divided by earnings. All right. We talked about management. And we talked about management numbers. Let's just jump into that. Sorry if I'm kind of all over the place. But that was where we had ended in my last broadcast, and I was having a hard time figuring out what it meant. So I discussed it with my friend. And now I can't find what page it's on. Shara, thank you for the soapy super hearts. Soapy Shara, thank you, thank you, thank you. Buy during panics. Right, that's the thing, is you want to have a lot of cash on hand, even though you do lose it by just having cash in your savings account. You want to or actually better in your probably brokerage account. You lose it because it's not gaining any interest. However, you want to have it so that it's really easy to buy when something happens like a crash. Hey Shay, because if you want to make money, right, you would buy at the bottom and sell at the top. So we're not trying to judge these little tiny penny peaks throughout the day like day trading. We're trying to look at long-term trends. Hey Laura, how are you? That said, you would never buy Sears. Yeah, no, me either. Sorry guys. I smell it. It's coming. It's here. It's here. Maybe. Maybe? Oh, maybe it's in this chapter before this. I feel like this, what chapter is this one? June, chapter 6. That chapter was kind of pointless. I'm sorry, Danielle. It's a really good book. It's one of my favorite books I've ever read. I just felt like chapter 6 was pointless. Shay, thank you for the super hearts. I appreciate that. You keep your stacks in your mattress, okay? No, Laura. If you don't know what a covered call is, Google it, change your life. 54 into 24 equals 1 in 9 months. Hi, Victor. How are you? GE, however, might be a good buy. Hi, Fem. Just started following you. Love your transparency and positivity. Thank you. Oh, hang on. We have a bot. I still don't understand why I can only mute people on my own channel. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. So, circling competence, which goes back to the beginning of what we're talking. Okay, forget it. We don't have to find it in the book. I have it written down on my cheat sheet. Thank you, Laura. All right. So, I didn't say my shout outs to my sponsors. I just dove into the content like I said I wasn't going to do. Alex, hi. Привет. All right. Quick shout out to everyone who contributed yesterday during match day. I appreciate you so much. I can't say thank you enough. I didn't know how our match day was going to go. It was less than half of what we normally shoot for our minimum target, but I really appreciate everyone who did get involved and did go over to femyoga.com and click support. Alex, spasiba for the super hearts. Thank you, James. I admire you as well. It's like what we say in yoga, namaste, which means the divine light in me recognizes and honors the divine light in you. It's kind of like the same meaning as this. Like, yeah, okay. RD Baker, thank you for the sponsorship. Thank you, Anthony Minetti, for the monthly sponsorship. Thank you, Lou, for the monthly sponsorship. Thank you, Tracy, for the monthly sponsorship. Thank you, Jimmy Knapp, for the monthly sponsorship. I actually sent Jimmy Knapp a little gift because he has sponsored this channel now for a year straight. Hello, stalker. Hello, Pablo. I'm saying hello. I don't mean hello. I mean thank you, Pablo, for the monthly sponsorship. Thank you, Finley, again, for your monthly sponsorship. You're so generous. Hi, Mark. Hi. There's a lot of bots tonight, right? Is that just me? Donna, thank you for the sponsorship. Not just your normal sponsorship that you always send, tried and true, but you also got your monthly sponsorship, and I'm so happy about this. So happy. Okay, thank you for your monthly sponsorship and your regular sponsorship. Thank you, Chris, for your sponsorship. Thank you, Bill Kaneko, for your sponsorship. Thank you, Donna, again. And I think that was everyone. And then since then, we had Eric E. Fubar. He sent another $20. Steph Ray sent another $10. Both of those are on the monthly sponsors. Crowd stalker funding. Wait, what? Me too, Mark. Yes, Chris Angeles starts on this channel on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific time. That's midnight Eastern time. So it's midnight technically Wednesday, but it's going to feel like Tuesday night. She's going to play music, sing you songs, play guitar, and just kind of hang out with you guys, interact with you guys for 1 hour. And she starts, her first ever one will be in 2 nights from now. So it's Sunday now. She'll be on Tuesday night. I'm really excited to get her started. She's really talented. I actually have like all of her CDs right here. Have more than this. There's at least 3. Oh, is it on the ground? Yes. I don't know why. But here we go. That's how you spell her name. Chris Angeles. And she will be on here on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific time. So come check her out. It's our first musician ever on the channel. I'm so excited. If you don't know, we're trying to get this channel live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it ain't gonna be easy. But you guys make it possible. All those people that I just shouted out, they all contributed, which helped us to get to be able to bring on content creators like Chris Angeles, like Lizzie Bear, like Lumperito, like Ruby Nusa, like Lorena Mia. Now we have 5 additional creators plus me, so now there's 6 of us on this channel. It's growing, you guys, it's growing! I'm so excited. She does sing beautifully. She does. I would play some for you, but I don't even want to tease it. This is your teaser. Be here live on this channel. You can follow her on her channel too. She probably goes live on there other times throughout the week, and then you can see her like, what, 3 times, even more? I don't know how often she goes live. Could be every day. You could see her like 8 times a week. Maybe even more. I don't know. I didn't really stalk her like that. Crowdfunding for stalkers. Thank you, Shay. You make it possible too. You sent super hearts. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay. Did I shout everybody? I shouted. I shout. Thank you for Josh WebJ for contributing to, what broadcaster was it? Floor's broadcast, Limperito's trivia and beer tasting broadcast last night, which reminds me, we have about 4 hours until Lizzie Bear goes live on this channel with sexual health and wellness. But last night he was the top contributor of Super Hearts, and he got over 10,000 Super Hearts, which I very much appreciate because it not only helps this channel, but it helps that creator in particular. So you're actually helping not only Femme Yoga grow, but you're helping Flor and Lumperito to, have even more success with her channel as well. Mark, right now we only have females, but we'll see. Okay, Shara. All right. Shara is like, oh, are we about to get into the math? I'm going to be right back. Good timing, Shara. Good timing. Lizzie B. Hey, Josh, there you are. Thank you for the sponsorship, or the Super Hearts. Appreciate that. Really, Naomi? You think my hair looks pretty? I think it's like, okay, I'm not going to criticize myself. I'm just going to say thank you. Go like this. Throw it back there. All right, there we go. Back to the book faster. See my pick on Super Hearts? I made that, but it's only the top of it. Let's see. Oh, is that the Virgin Mary? Oh God, I'm sorry if that's the wrong religious reference. I'm not really knowledgeable on my religious art. Probably any art in general, but it's beautiful. You did that? You made that? That's really beautiful. Well done, well done. Okay, so now that I said a huge thank you, and I really mean it, I know I kind of flew through it, but I feel like I'm going to be talking for hours as it is. We've already been talking for, it's only 24 minutes. That's not too bad. I'm talking fast. I love this. We're getting to it. All right. Here we go. Are you guys ready? Boom. All right. We're not going to look at this just yet. I just like to scare you guys with numbers. Do I have a book club? Naomi, I have book reviews and summaries that I do. You can sign up on the website if you, well, hang on, it's not on the screen anymore, is it? If you go to femyoga.com, you can see right there, it's free. I send 3 emails a year. So once every 4 months, I send a review and summary of all the books that I've read in those 4 months. So the next review is actually going to be really full of these investment type books, because not only did I just finish that book Invested, but I also am in the process of reading this one now, which I showed you guys on my bookstore scope yesterday. The Only Investment Guide You'll Ever Need by Andrew Tobias. And I'm on I'm on page 118. Chapter 6, Tax Strategies. Good stuff in here. I don't remember why I'm talking about this book. Oh, because this will be on the book review and summary as well. This is a good one too. This one's got me wanting to set up a Roth IRA, I think, a retirement fund for myself. What do you guys think about Roth IRA? We are supposed to talk about investing. So. All right. Back to the stuff. Boom. Okay, so we talked about all this stuff in the past, kind of flew through some of it today. We didn't talk much about moats, but we've talked a lot about it in the past broadcast. Thank you, Josh. I've been really wanting to drive the value, and especially the financial value of the channel, because I think it's easy for you guys to support the channel if you can see how it can make you money and how it can teach you things that grow and protect your money. And I think that's really potentially part of the future of where this channel will move, at least in my own personal interest and my own personal broadcasts on here, because I love it, and I think you guys are benefiting from it. I don't know if you guys love it, but I can make myself a lot bigger, can't I? Hi, wow. Is that what I look like? I don't know if I'm digging the close-up. All right, here we go. Big four numbers. We talked about those already. Those have in the parentheses where you can get them from. So you can pull those pieces of information from the income statement, the balance sheet, cash flow statements, 3 statements. They're all easily found through Google. So with Twitter, I just look up Twitter income statement. Whatever company you're looking up, you do the same thing. NASDAQ will have all the information as long as it's a publicly traded company. So you pull those, you can put them on your spreadsheet. Boom. You can't really see my spreadsheet now that I made myself so big. Okay, fine, I'll shrink myself back down. This will be fun, we'll just keep changing it. So you can see net profit. Well, actually, I don't think wait, is it in the same order that I had on here? Net profit, revenue, equity, operating cash. Yes. Look at that loveliness. Take a look at my pic before I change. Is that Ruby? What is that? What does she have? Is she playing that game with the thing in your mouth? What's happening here? Oh my gosh, how did I even recognize her? That's crazy. If you guys wouldn't mind muting the bots, it doesn't look like Egg Drop is muting them today or kicking them, and there's a lot of them. If you're a little bit bored, look for something to do. That is a bot. Yes, it is. All right, you're a moderator, Josh. Saul, I think you are too. And Scott. Brian, how many super hearts did you send? 3,000? Okay. If you send 10,000, you become a moderator, or you just become a super fan like I know you've been trying to do for a long time. The competition is stiff. Oh, but you are sending the most hearts. Let's switch it. Boom, Brian, Scott, Tyler, Saul, Scott. What? I said Scott. That's Owen. Oh my God, look how close their pictures look. Just kidding. Sorry, Owen. Thank you, Owen. Sorry, I thought you were Scott. Scott's down here. Mark. If Scott wasn't down here, I wouldn't have even realized that I called Owen Scott, so that's my bad. Thank you, Shay. I appreciate you. Tell me if I'm going too fast on this, you guys. Tell me if I'm going too fast. Right now, we're just taking the book's word for it. If they say these are the big 4 numbers, these are important numbers, okay. I'm a newbie. I don't have a lot of investment experience. So, okay, these numbers are important. I can Google them and put them into a spreadsheet. And that's what I did. So back to that. Net profit, revenue, equity, operating cash. We can do just a quick rundown of what those words mean. So the net profit is what the company made after all of the expenses. So a company has revenue or income, and then they have their expenses where they have to pay all their bills and their employees and everything, different things that they need. And then their net profit is what's left over after that. So you can see that Twitter has been operating at a net loss every year since it went public, but you can also see how much of a change that was. Now, these numbers that I have here with the percentages are a bit confusing because these are negative numbers that we're calculating growth on. It looks like it went down 76%, but it actually went up. As you can see, from 2016, they lost $456 million. And then in 2017, they lost $108 million. So 108 is about it's about 24% of 456. So it's a 76% increase because that number is negative. So it's getting closer to 0. Do you get what I'm saying? So some of this math is actually a bit confusing because of the negatives and how it's kind of hard to tell the computer what you want it to do, because you don't want to multiply by a negative if the number goes positive in the future years. So it's kind of something that you just learn through eyeballing, because what I'm trying to do is decide if this company is growing enough year to year for me to feel like it's on an upward trend, like it's going to continue growing over time. So according to Phil Town, our main mentor in this book, we want to make sure that that is about 10% in all 4 of those big numbers. So again, the net profit, the revenue, the equity, and the operating cash. We want those to all be increasing at about 10% per year or more. And you can see these numbers are all over the place. So the revenue negative number is actually negative. So it actually did go down 3.41% in revenue, but the net profit increased dramatically, which is good. That's more important than getting the revenue to increase, in my opinion. Again, all of this is really what I think and what I feel about these numbers and what they mean. But you can see other times, like in 2016, from 2015 to 2016, the operating cash went up 99.2%. That's 100% growth. So these numbers are kind of all over. The year before that, it went up 368%. So you're not taking the average here. Oh, why is this? Oh, this phone is not charging. Okay. It's because I unplugged my laptop and forgot to plug this one little thing back in. Okay. I remembered 10 of the wires. One of them that I did not remember is the charger to you guys. You're alive now. I'm pointing at the wrong camera. You're alive. Okay. So what you're doing is you're just kind of looking at the numbers and you're getting a feel for about how much do you think it's going to be growing per year. So for me, I just picked 10% as an estimated growth rate on average of all these numbers because they are kind of all over the place, but I feel like 10% is a pretty reasonable amount to expect in the future going forward, assuming nothing changes. And that's why you have to be on top of the news of the company and what's going on with them and their reports and their financials, because something could change. Something in these numbers could change, and it could change what I think is going to happen in the future, which is going to change whether I want to buy it or sell it or what price I would do so at. Okay. The next word down below net profit is revenue, which is basically the gross total, everything that you sold, not worrying about any of the expenses. So the gross sales. Gross means the total. Net means it's the number after you've taken away something. So if you have, you made $1,000 in your business in a month and you had to spend $500 on expenses, then your revenue was $1,000 and your net profit is $500. And your expenses are also $500, but we're not looking at expenses just yet for this pricing. Eric said, I look away for 1 minute and you have a whole spreadsheet up. Oh my gosh, he's totally making a reference to our Discord group. Hang on, let me take this off the screen just in case I click the wrong button. But I'm going to show you the GIF that I post. Okay, it's a geeky GIF. Like, I don't know if everyone's going to laugh at it, but it made me laugh. And it made Eric laugh. And Eric just sponsored the channel today, so I'm happy. He's happy. We're all happy. Okay, here it is. Hopefully it'll show up on the screen. Okay, wait. Okay, I almost ruined the punchline. Okay, here. Wait, oh no, wait! Okay, here. Sorry. When you look away for a second during class, like they're all bored, and they look up, and then they just like, okay, one more time. When you look away for a second during class, it's like super boring, 1 + 2, 7 + 2, oh, so boring, and then, and they're just like, forget this. Yes, you auto-sponsored. Yes, you did. Thank you. All right. We had our fun, Eric. We had our fun. Back to work. This is not the right sheet. This is the sheet. You just joined. Rainbow Dash fan. Hey, Aarons. Hey, everyone. Your head is spinning. Okay. Don't look at the numbers. Okay? Just look here. Just look. See that? The highlighted area? Just look at the words for now. Let's get definitions down first. Terminology, okay? So we just talked about revenue and net profit. There's going to be different words for that, and that you'll get used to it over time. It's kind of like learning a new language, and it might feel like that for you for a little while, but that's okay. It's like learning anything new. You get better at it with practice, and just ask questions. So thank you, Rainbow, for saying that. They said my head is spinning, like I'm trying to follow you, but I don't know what you're saying. So thank you for saying that, and just be patient with yourself. And just keep asking if you're confused about anything, or if, just read some books, just start exposing yourself to finance more often, and you'll realize that you start to learn the terminology and become more comfortable with it. Really, one simple book about investments is going to teach you a ton. And also, if you work for a company, if you're in administrative roles, if you've ever run a business, you'll be a little bit more familiar with this. So I know I take that for granted since I've been in the workforce for over 10 years. I've been running this business for almost 2 years, actually a little longer, but the live streaming business for nearly 2 years. And I totally take for granted what some of these words mean. So just remind me to slow down or ask what something means, and we'll totally go over it. So revenue, like I said, is the total sales. So again, if you sold, let's say that you sell hair ties, okay? And each hair tie is $1. So you sell 1,000 hair ties and you have $1,000. However, it costs you 50 cents to make one hair tie. So even though you're charging $1 for it, you're really only keeping 50 cents, and that 50 cents is your net profit. So you have your revenue, which is the $1 for the hair tie, and you have your net profit, which is the 50 cents. Hopefully that kind of makes some sense to you guys. If not, let me know. I don't know what else I can say, but I can keep trying. The next term down is a little bit more confusing. This is equity. So this is actually the assets of the company, which are things like the land. Like if you own the land that your business is on, for me it would be like this microphone, the tripods, the tech, basically the laptop, the camera. These things are not, I buy this laptop, I don't make money on it, but it's worth some amount of money if I were to sell it. So it's considered an asset to my company. So this laptop that I bought actually was worth $1,500. I bought it at $750. If I had sold it the next day, I could have made maybe $700 on it or so, because it was worth so much more than I bought it at. So I could have actually made money on that, but instead I kept it and put it to work for me. And now it's been, I don't know, maybe a year or so. Maybe it's worth $750 now. I really haven't looked at the value of this laptop in a while, but it's an asset to my company. It has some value, so it would be on the asset part of the balance sheet or the income statement in my financials. So again, these are all just terms. You can take a really easy online accounting 101 class that's totally free. It's escaping me what website I did that through before, but I just Googled free online accounting 101, something like that, and it was kind of like a cheesy class. It was like kind of outdated and old, but it taught me these terms like assets, liabilities, equity, so that it makes all of the rest of it moving forward a lot easier. Thank you, Eric, for watching on YouTube and Twitch. Appreciate that. Nick says that you suck at Excel. Really? Oh, what I'm using here is Google Sheets. Do you like Google Sheets? I know it's similar, right? Breathe in, then out, close your eyes, imagine yourself on an open field. Okay, so equity. It's the assets, like my laptop, minus my liabilities. So liabilities are something where I basically owe money to someone. So say I borrowed money, so let's say I borrowed, let's try to keep it basic. Let's say my laptop is worth $500 and I borrowed $500 from somebody. So my equity is $0, if that was everything. Okay, I'm just trying to be simple here. If all I had was a laptop and $500 from an investor that I was expected to pay back, then my equity is 0. It's the assets minus the liabilities. Whatever amount that is your equity. So it's different than revenue because it's not money that you bring in. It's basically what the business would be worth if it was to close down and sell everything that it owned today and pay back all of its debts. That's probably the best way to say it. If this company was to close its doors today, sell everything that it had to its name, the building, the land, the laptop, the phones, the hair ties, and then paid back all of their debts and paid off all their bills and all their credit lines, then what amount do you have left is your equity. Okay, that's what the business is worth in a fire sale, basically. Never borrow, always pay it all or most of it. Dude, I am totally of that same belief. I know a lot of people are more into leverage and debt and borrowing, but I personally am with you on that one all the way. I do not like borrowing money either. Never, never, never. But it happens sometimes. People do it, and sometimes it is necessary and helpful. Sometimes, as long as you're managing it well, as long as it's a reasonable amount of time for you to pay back, and you're borrowing the money basically to make money, which isn't usually what people do. A lot of times they borrow money to pay bills, which I don't know how you expect to pay that money back So, but if you borrow money to make money, like if you're borrowing money to do something with your business, to me that makes sense because you can pay that back with the money generated if it's a good investment, if if it was a good loan. Never say never. Yeah, exactly, Josh. Never say never. That's a perfect way to put it. So we're already to our fourth big number here. Don't worry about those ones below. Here, let me highlight the right ones. Ready? Just these ones, just these four. So we talked net profit. That's the money you have left over at the end of the year. You sold some, you got some money, you spent some money, and the money you have left over is your net profit. The revenue is the total amount that you sold throughout the year. Never buy stock on margin. I totally agree with that, Scopes. My ex actually did that and really got called on it. The third is equity, which we talked about, is how much your business, and I shouldn't say business, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, you know what, we're talking about investing, stock investing, so this is how much the business is worth if it was to close down today, pay back all of its debts, and sell everything that it has to its name. Yes, Josh, he said debt can make you rich faster, but that same lever can whack you over the head. I love that. That's perfect. I think we're totally on the same page when it comes to that. And this is actually not related to this at all, but there's an interesting theory. Let's see if I can find the book quickly. There's a book called Bowling Alone, and it's about how online communities are very homogenous in the way that they think. Sorry, I'm trying to find the book, but I don't see it. Which means they think very similarly, but they're very diverse. So different genders, different ages, different races, different backgrounds, cultures, socioeconomic statuses, and in your real life, like the people, let's say your local community, they're much less diverse. They're much more homogenous in terms of race, age, gender, the people you hang out with, like around your house. But their thoughts and their opinions and their points of view are very diverse. So I thought that was always interesting. I've always migrated towards internet communities, and I wonder if that's because I really love like-minded people so much. It's hard to find like-minded people in the average world, right? Was that Beer 10? Hey, Beer 10. Beer 10 says, please consult a financial advisor for advice. You can do that if you want. You can also read books written by financial advisors, which is what I prefer to do. I also do speak to people who invest in stocks successfully. I like to talk to people who have a proven successful track record. I think that's the best way to go. Don't invest in more than you can afford to lose. Agreed. But remember what we're doing here, we're trying to remove the element of gambling from this as much as possible. There is still some murkiness, there is still some estimations, but most people that I know do not invest this way. They do not take the time to do this level of research and this level of valuation, doing a straight up valuation of a company using 3 different forms of pricing. So you can go to a financial advisor if you want. I'm not one. I have no license or certification to teach you any of this. I'm just saying this is a book that I read. This is what they taught you to do in the book. I like it. I've made almost 100% return in a little over a year on my Twitter stock. I didn't use this method to buy that Twitter stock, but looking at the price that it should have been, it was a good buy when I got it, and now I can show you why. I didn't know that. I got lucky. It was a gamble on my part. I happened to win. But now looking at this, if I had had this information then, I would have made that same buy of Twitter. Why isn't debt its own row but combined with equity? Because I'm only pulling the numbers that we need for these 3 forms of pricing. So we were still talking, someone told me their head was spinning and they wanted me to explain this a little bit more thoroughly. So I am trying to go pretty slow intentionally, but we will get to all of the information on this sheet, I promise. No, Geodude, this is the numbers for Twitter. My face is kind of over the name of this document, but why don't I just put myself up here? Make myself smaller. How's that? All right, whatever. That seems good to me. Okay, so we talked about net profit, revenue, equity, and now we're on the last one, which is operating cash. And this is on the cash flow statement. Remember, I have my little cheat sheet. You should have one too. Yes, cash flow statement. And it'll say right on there, cash generated from operating activities. So this is the money that is spent and generated through the activities necessary to keep the business operating. So you take that number, boom, plug it in. Hi, Anonatron, I like your name. What's going on? All sorts of amazing technology. What's going on with you? Thank you, Brian, for the hearts. Owen, Josh, Saul, Scott, Tyler. Thank you for the super hearts. Brian, top contributor, super hearts in this broadcast, followed by Shay, double Alex, Scott, Joe, Shara, and Tyler. Thanks for the super hearts. Goodbye, little bot. Okay. Back to this. So those are what Phil Town calls the big four numbers. Oops, why did I have equity grabbed? That's a little bit confusing. Okay, it was supposed to be this. The big four numbers. All right, so then you can go and you can find those really easily. Like I said, on NASDAQ, you can Google whatever the company is you're researching. You can research the name of the company as well as income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow statements. And you can find all these numbers back as far as, you should go at least 10 years so that you can see how the company performs through different economic shifts. The problem here, one of the first problems that we find with Twitter, is that they just went public in 2013. So it's actually hard to find financial information before that date, which means we can only go back maybe 5 years, and that's not ideal. So we would actually put that on like another risk for Twitter. So we can go over to my little Twitter. Nope. Hang on, let me take this off my screen so I can make sure I don't show you all my docs. What's my take on index funds? It seems like a safe route to go. I do not have any investments in index funds, and I'm just starting to research investing myself. So the only thing that we're really learning about right now and studying is investing in stocks. Am I looking at the wrong camera? I'm looking at the wrong camera. Sorry guys, I didn't know I was over here. Hi. Everything I just said, but looking over here. Okay, Twitter. Here it is. Okay. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. So I'm just gonna write it right here. Only, let's see. Oops. 2013 IPO, only 5 years of financials to look at. Okay, good. Hey Trapper. So then we'll go back in here. Is this what we were on? I believe so. So then we got into the numbers that were triggering me on my last broadcast, and I had to end the broadcast and figure out what it meant. Now I know what they meant. So these two numbers are return on equity right here. These are what he calls the management numbers. Return on equity and return on invested capital. How are you, Trappa? Did you sleep? So these were confusing me last time because Twitter has negative numbers, so it was like really confusing, but I already talked about why it was confusing earlier, so hopefully this will make, a little bit more sense to you guys. So we have Twitter. And so we can look right here. So this is ROE. This is return on equity. Now this is, wait, did I? Oh yeah, I don't actually have return on invested capital because it's not a return. Is your invested capital not your equity? So invested capital, as far as Phil and Danielle Town, who wrote this book, refer to it as, is the equity plus the liabilities. So it's basically the equity, the bottom line amount, plus the liabilities in. Rather than subtracting the liabilities from the assets, you're adding the debt back in because you're trying to figure out how much of that money, how much of that equity is debt. So you can see what you're really getting for the amount of liability that they have as opposed to just the equity. Because so return on equity, what you do is you take, as you can see in the cheat sheet, you're taking net income divided by the equity, which is this number. Now, if I'm not getting a return, that's already bad. What we're looking for here is a return of I should have written it down. I think he said 10%. It was either 10 or 15% on this one, and I can check on that. But in this case, the reason I don't remember is because Twitter is losing money on its investments. It has lots of debt. So taking this number, equity plus debt, and dividing the net profit by that is just going to give me a more confusing number, because it'll actually say -1%, which makes it look like it's a better return on the invested capital because it's a negative number. And when you divide something by a negative number, you're always going to get a negative number. So I actually don't have the ROIC on this spreadsheet for Twitter. I guess I could put it on here and just not use it, because I was confused by it when I had it on there. I'll show you what it would look like. It would be the net profit divided by the equity plus the debt, which is also on the statements. So in this case it's 0, but if I change it to a percentage, see what I mean? So it's like, it looks to me like, okay, I'm dividing it by a larger number, so it should be a smaller number, but because it's negative, it actually appears to be a larger number, because -1 is a larger number than -2. So that was confusing me, so I took it off. Hopefully that makes enough sense to you, because you're trying to figure out what's the actual return in considering the debt. And if you look at the, is it cash flow statements? I think so. Let's just look it up. I like to use NASDAQ just to keep it consistent, so I kind of get used to what everything looks like on here, and not the ads. Okay. Oh my god, what? Okay, that was weird. I never saw that before. What am I looking for? Sorry, lost my train of thought here. We're looking at, I wanted to show you the liabilities here. Here. Equity? No, this is cash flow. What did I say? Did I look up cash flow statement? That makes no sense. Twitter. Years after the dot-com crash, yeah. Is it income or balance sheet? Where's it gonna be? It's the balance sheet. Aw, thanks, Nightabatic. That's nice. I'm learning right alongside you guys, so in a year from now, I'll be much better at spitting all this information out. Okay, so you can see here, equity, total equity here, total liabilities here. So the way we got that number was by taking the assets minus the liabilities. That gives you your equity. And then if you add that back on, if you add the liabilities back on, that's the number we use to get your return on invested capital. Now, I don't know why we use all the numbers that we use, if I'm honest with you. I'm just going off of the formulas that they've chosen that are supposed to mimic what Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger use. I am not a professional, I'm not an expert. I'm learning this right alongside you. I'll probably change my mind on some of these things as time goes on, as I usually do, the more information that I learn. Hey, Deb, it is fun. The gurus are a bit intense, yeah, and I'm so far from being a guru, but I do think that it's important to show you guys, like, anyone can do this. Like, if we just think about it, we talk about it, and we get used to the numbers and get used to the language, yes, I am going to do that. Then I think there's hope for all of us to be successful investors if that's what you want to do. It piques my interest. I'm not so interested in real estate as I am in business acquisitions. So that's something that I'm really passionate about this. So it's easy for me to just talk about it for hours. Some of you guys might be glazing over. Maybe a different form of investing is better suited for you. Investing's not super exciting, but figuring things out is to me. And being able to understand it, because once I understand it, I know what price it should be, what I think it should be based on my own estimates, and then I can decide when it gets to that price, I'll buy it. Boom, makes it so easy. And yeah, so T asked, am I going to do analysis for stocks on my watch list? And I am going to be doing that once we're done with this, which we pretty much are. Hopefully we can spit it all out in this broadcast, and then over the next couple of weeks maybe, I can punch in, because the thing is, before you get all the numbers, you have to research the company pretty thoroughly. So you have to read all of their reports, you have to listen to their quarterly calls, you have to look up all their executives to basically like make a little sheet like this where you just write down interesting things about it. And to me, what do I have, 3 pages here that I just kind of pulled like out of different reports and news articles and just different ideas that I had while I was researching it. So it's like I can't just go and pull the numbers and just be like, okay, comparing them, because I have to decide if I like the company and I understand the company before I decide what the price should be. You just want to be the luck sucker that took a risk on the next Amazon or Apple. Yeah, I don't know that that's what you're going to get with Twitter. That's not what I'm betting on anyway. Brian, you said woo? Okay, is that like, slow down? Just look at the numbers for a moment. Okay, so we see that we're not getting a return. Oh, wait, over here. We're losing money, so we're not getting a return, right? There's no return on the equity. There's no return on the invested capital. There's a 0 return. There's actually a loss. You're actually losing 2% of all the invested money by losing $108 million in the year. But if you look at the year before that, they were losing close to 10% of the invested cap, or of the equity, or I like to say the invested capital. I think it makes more sense to say they're losing the invested capital than to say they're losing the equity. But you guys can see it's much better to lose 2% than it is to lose 10%. And if it's moving in that direction, there's a chance that that would flip and there would be a return on the equity in 2018, which we'll know in the next 2 months when they release the January report. That was about my fingers gonna fall off with all them hearts I just gave. Hey, Love Troll. Gem Yoga. Oh, Brian. Thank you for 14,000 hearts, Brian. And thank you, Owen and Josh and Saul and Scott and Tyler. Thanks for the hearts, guys. They've been in the red a while. Yeah. Yep. As you can see, ever since they went public, they have been reporting losses. Thank you, Josh, for the super hearts. I appreciate that. I'm starting a new business. It's called Yoga and Togas. If you would like to invest, contact me. Okay, so if you guys would like to invest in that, contact Dub. Derek, thank you for the super hearts. Derek, how have you been? So good to see you. One of our monthly sponsors in the house right there, Derek VL from Canada. Met him in Anaheim. We had a great time together. I keep telling him he's got to come visit me in Tampa. Which stock is this? This is Twitter. Oh, I'm pointing the wrong way. Twitter. These are actually not the stock prices, but let's move on because I'm excited now. I don't know why. So we have return on equity, return on invested capital. Those are what he calls the management numbers. So that's how he said, that's how you can determine if the management's doing a good job with the money that they have. In the tech industry, what Twitter is doing is not unusual. So I wouldn't buy a private company that was like some small business that was just losing a bunch of money all the time. The way that things are done in Silicon Valley is a little bit different. There's a lot of debt, there's a lot of leverage, and you can consider it more of a risk to invest in a company that's reporting losses. Hey Kyle, how was your day? I typed it that way before you said it. That way I went, wait, what? How did you get smaller? What, am I smaller? Twitter. Do I? Oh, you mean, I forgot I was in that little corner. Hi, what's up? All right. Stop distracting me. Okay, you couldn't even see that it said management numbers or investing. Come on, why is it gotta be so twitchy? Ooh, yes, there, boom, yes. Management numbers. My day was good, Kyle. My day was good. I've been excited to do this broadcast for days. I've been working on it all weekend. I'm so excited. I work risk to it. If I had the money, the small company is go global so quick. If you had the money, there could be a reason you don't have the money because you would risk it. Okay, I'm not big on risk at all. I don't view Twitter as a risky investment, but you guys all are going to make your own choices and decisions based off of your values and your interests in what industry that you choose to invest in. Who wants to invent something, develop it, and go on Shark Tank with me? Can we develop an app that suggests what the prices of different stocks should be based on the system that we're developing right now together? Thank you. Oh, that's okay. It's all right. I knew what you were trying to say. Looks like I put a lot of work into this. I did. I did. I'm obsessed with this stuff. It's fun. And I can sit here and say, yeah, I did all this hard work for you guys, but come on, I'm benefiting from this too, because now I know how to invest too. What's good for me is good for you. What's good for you is good for me. And what's bad for anyone in the human race is bad for me. That's how I feel about it. So I don't want bad things for anyone, whether they want bad things for me or not. That's not fun. That's not. Come on, it sounds fun to me, Dub. I'm investing in foreign tech stocks these days. Domestic is a little worrying. Yeah, so I was reading in that book, The Investment Guide, that some people, you can invest in the market. You can invest just like in the S&P, like in a mutual fund or an index fund, or you can invest in an international mutual fund or index fund, some fund, like an international one. There's like, America's not the only game on the scene, or what's the word that I'm looking for? Not the only show in town. There we go, that's better. Not the only show in town anymore. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't gotten into international companies yet, but you can take a look at my wish list. I have, okay. I feel like, okay. I'm not going to say what's happening, but you might be able to tell by the face that I just made. Okay, so these are some companies that I'm going to consider looking into, and definitely Kakao Line is an international messaging app that competes with Twitter. So I will be checking out some international companies in the next few weeks. Stay tuned. They're thinking the election might turn into a bear market. I'm sticking with international. Okay. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so now we're moving over here. Now we're moving into pricing. This is exciting. Everybody take a deep breath with me, okay? We got through those numbers that were confusing the heck out of me last time. Oh, return on equity, return on invested capital. Hey, Glory. Glory, I like that idea. Glory said, I'm kind of late here. I just got here. Is there a way I can get that cheat sheet or something similar? I love that idea. I would love to post it somewhere. It's kind of just like, if you look at it though, it's just like my scratch notes. It's not really something I want to like put out. You know what I mean? This is kind of like their notes. Sorry, I'm rubbing my nose. These are notes to myself, these are just like notes from the book. I would say the best way to get this information is, one, you can take a screenshot. I can kind of like scroll through it. If you want to grab a screenshot, I'll leave this up for like 10 seconds each. And you can take screenshots of it so you have it right now today. Otherwise, you'll probably have to wait for my next book review to go out, which I think is in January. It's not too far, like maybe 2 months from now or so. I'll be putting out one of my book review emails, which is going to have this is one of the books I read, so it's going to have a full review and summary of this book, where I can kind of clean up this information that's in here because it's not really very clean. It's kind of sloppy. I'm going to scroll down if you want to keep screenshotting. There's only like one more little thing below this. So there's 3 forms of pricing, and I'm going to go over how to do all of these so that you don't have to like just look at these notes and think that they're going to mean anything to you, because like I said, they're just kind of my sloppy like scratch notes, partially to help me remember how to do this in the future, and partially to help me remember how to teach it to you guys and to be able to show it on the screen. So it's like, it's not my best work. It's not my best work. The per shares price for Google have got to be sky high. Oh, I bet. Oh, good to see you too, Derek. Enjoy dinner. What are you having? I'm hungry now. Wait a second for the name on the stream. I haven't seen yoga at all. You haven't seen me do yoga? I did yoga, I don't know, like last week. Can I throw a bio stock for you to check out? Orogenics. You can message it to me, Derek. I think you might have already left. But I have, did you see my wish list? Or you want me to just put it on here? Orogenics. Per Derek. There we go. I'll check it out at some point. Right now, I feel like it's too confusing as it is, everything that I'm doing here. So I'm going to try to keep it kind of simple. I'm going to let you guys take your last screenshot here. And then I'm going to teach you guys what these 3 forms of pricing are. This is the most exciting part, because this is where you take those numbers and you do a bunch of math. Like, that's why I called it Fasten Your Seatbelts. Get ready for some math. You can do this. The third way is actually really easy math. The title of the book, yes, thanks for asking that. Is that Jim? Jim, I want to see your wish list. Yeah, send it to me. I'm everywhere. You can go to femyoga.com/contact. Boom, you'll find me. Why is my website so slow? Eric, help me. Boom. YouTube, Periscope, Goodreads, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, email. However you want to reach out to me. You can mail me something. You can mail me clothes. I wear an extra small, size 0. Okay, all right, moving on. Also, if you want to support the channel, you just click that support button right there. And look, all the things you can get. Whee! Sponsorships. Or you can get wish list items. Okay, it's fun. Might as well add Blue Star Airlines. Okay. What about JetBlue? I like that too. What do we have? Spirit, Frontier. What was the one? Here we go with the math. Get ready. DF. Blue Star Airlines. Excuse me. You guys see how I'm all over the place, right? I am all over the place. And I can do this. You can do this. What is it that we are even doing, Taylor? I'm not sure. Maybe pricing, maybe just talking to us all. Don't forget great return on lotto tickets with the right numbers. Thank you, Rio, for your deep, profound wisdom. Book title, Jim, that's what it was. I knew I was forgetting something. Like I had about 10 things I wanted to remember to say in that moment. This one I did not remember. Here, this is a great screenshot. This is the best screenshot you could take of the whole broadcast. Invested. How Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger taught me to master my mind, my emotions, and my money with a little help from my dad, by Danielle Town and Phil Town. Amazing book. This is the best book I've read about investing so far. I am reading another book right now by Andrew Tobias called The Only Investment Guide You'll Ever Need. I'll hold that one up next. It's been pretty good so far, but I haven't really gotten into the meat of the book. I'm only on chapter 6, which is talking about taxes, which I love. I love it so far, but it's not quite yet as practical as the invested book was that I just showed you. But if you like this kind of stuff, it helps just to read books in this category, I think. This is what I'm getting into more, reading more about finance, investments. And this is how we learn about things. We don't have to pay thousands of dollars to go to college. We can just pick up a book and read it into our brains. The Only Investment Guide You'll Ever Need by Andrew Tobias, completely updated. We saw this yesterday at the bookstore. A book on getting rich from the lottery. Hey, you can write a book on anything you guys want. Someone might buy it. I'd be thrilled to be sponsored by Nestle. They have good chocolate. Wait, what do you mean? You're sponsored by Nestle, or you think I should be sponsored by Nestle? I don't really eat a lot of chocolate, but does Nestle own this company? Nope. Glisso. How do you even say that word? Thank you, Josh. And thank you, Kyle. Are books current enough to keep in line with current market trends and habits? Yes. So both of these books were published in 2017, I believe. Let's find out. I know that this book, the one I just showed you from Andrew Tobias, has been revised a lot since I think 1978. 1978. And then the most recent was 2016. So 2016, about 2 years old. Maybe going on 3. But this is actually basic information, and what I like about this too is that they have lots of links, lots of websites that you can go to learn about this information, and that is hugely helpful. So it's Priceline.com for good prices on flights, and there's like little websites that I've never heard of and I currently can't think of, but that's why this is like a guide. You just kind of scroll through it and figure out what they say. Like save money by not using paper towels. Just use towels and wash them. Ask for a discount. You never know. People might give you a discount. Don't buy bottled water. Figure out how much things that you buy cost you in a month or in a year. So like if you spend $5 a day on Starbucks, you might just think, oh, it's $5, but then add that up. 5 times 30, 150 times 12 brings us to what, like $2,000-ish. I don't know. Something like that. Okay, moving on. It's water, so probably not. Come on, Tay. Blue Star is a made-up company from the movie Wall Street. Damn it, you made me put it on my wish list. Like, I've never heard of that in my life. I've never seen the movie. Wait, are you talking about Wolf of Wall Street? Salt, I told you I was just going to talk to you instead of actually teaching anyone about pricing. Now it's actually happening. Meanwhile, Brian has sent almost 17,000 hearts. This is amazing. Is it digestible, the book, or is it basically Latin? No, I think this book is even more digestible. Invested. This is very digestible. This is written by a girl who's basically afraid of math, and she talks about that a lot, which to me was annoyingly redundant. Sorry, Danielle. I love you. I really do love this book so much, but like she's really trying to make you feel like, listen, I hate math. You can do this. I hate math more than anything. You can do this. You got this. I don't know if I fully agree with that or not. I think it's probably easier for her to say because her father is Phil Town and he kind of held her hand through all of it. I would like to read his books. I'd like to keep reading more books, but this book was very palatable, very easy to understand, and this is the only book that prompted everything that we're learning about in this broadcast today in terms of these spreadsheets and notes. So this is I use Google Docs and Google Sheets for all of this stuff. So I definitely like Google products if you guys want to use that. It's easily accessible through all your different devices wherever you are as long as you're logged into Google. Most of it is basic math. Right, yeah, it's for me, I really like understanding things. Like I want to know why I'm using certain numbers, and in some cases I kind of had to let go of that here and just kind of like trust what they were saying, because sometimes you have to trust your teachers and trust your gurus until you innately kind of understand it and until you can dive deeper and just become more comfortable with it. So some of it I don't even fully understand, but we're going to try it. 4th grade math principles. Yeah, the third one's especially easy. Investment math, Coyote, yes. So 3 different ways that you can price a company. If you guys want to share this out with a timestamp, I might just timestamp it myself here. Can I share it on, I can only share it on Twitter though. Never mind, I can't share with my followers. But if you guys want to timestamp this, this is probably the most valuable part of this broadcast, and it can help you to come and watch this part back at the end, because this is where all the formulas come in. We were looking at return on equity and return on invested capital a little bit in the beginning, but that's not hugely important. Addition, subtraction, percentages. Yeah. Some of it, though, you do pick your own number. You do your own estimates. So we'll get into that. So the first form of pricing is the 10 cap pricing, which is based on owner earnings. So 10 cap basically means that you want to get all of your money that you pay for the business back within 10 years. So if the owner earnings are, this is the example that Warren Buffett used. If the owner earnings are worth $28,000, and I'll show you, that's what this little list is here that says net income, depreciation, amortization, all that. I'm actually gonna, I'm gonna leave it. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud here. Definitions seem like the hardest part. Probably, yeah, probably. And I want to make sure I spend adequate time on that, so don't let me gloss things over. If you get confused, please just ask. Just type it into the chat, and I'll repeat anything, or I'll slow down, or I'll review and kind of dig deeper into any of the topics that you're confused about. Because trust me, it took me a while of talking this stuff through and running it through my brain and other people's brains and literally having conversations about it before a lot of this stuff really resonated and stuck into my head. Oh no, Ryan, welcome back. Just gloss over it. No, don't gloss over. Yeah, we haven't even done anything. Here, stretch. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, down. 3 more. We're getting ready. We're doing pricing. One more. Exhale. All right, we're ready. 10 count. So if the owner earnings for a company are $28,000 per year, then the price we would be willing to pay for that company would be $280,000, because you take the amount of owner earnings for the year, you multiply it by 10, and that is your 10 cap price. The hard part is figuring out what the owner earnings are, because it's not something that you find on the financial statements we talked about. You can't just go pull this easily off the income statement, the cash flow statement, the balance sheet. You have to actually take numbers that you pull from those sheets and then run them through your own formulas, which is why I developed these spreadsheets. And I probably will sell this program in these spreadsheets at some point, if not just providing them. But I don't, it's not the SATs. Geodude. What did I say that was an SAT word? Owner earnings. Well, we're going to learn what that is right now. So owner earnings are calculated as follows. The net income, we talked about that. Hopefully you guys remember. You make a certain amount of money in the year, you spend a certain amount of money to make that money, and the money that you have left over after you pay all of the bills is your net income or your net profit. Hey, Super Pro, how are you? So you take your net income, which we already have, if you guys remember, for Twitter at least. So on Twitter, we have this net profit number already here. So we're good there. We got that. Good. Okay, what else do we need? We need the depreciation and amortization of Twitter, which we do not have yet on our sheet. Well, okay, I do have it actually, but again, you do have to go pull it. You have to go look for it. So this is the income statement. And you can, so if you go on NASDAQ, you can check the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statements all right here very easily, at least for the last 4 years. You're not ready for math? It's okay. That's the beauty of using an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheet, which is what I use, is Google Sheets, because I'm actually going to go ahead and freeze that top row because it does the math for you. Okay, there we go. So if we scroll down, we can still see the years. Let's go down to our next little section here so that you guys aren't getting too overwhelmed with new information. So we are now on depreciation and amortization, which is the amount of money that the assets lose in value each year. I actually forget what amortization is, but let's look it up because this is how we learn. I am not a CPA, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just a curious thinker. Amortization is an accounting term that refers to the process of allocating the cost of an intangible asset over a period of time. It also refers to the repayment of loan principal over time. So it's a cost of running the business, right? So here we need to add that to the net income. And remember, any of these numbers could be a negative number, like some of these numbers, like this one here, this one here, this one here, which is pretty much the same thing, are always negative numbers, but you still add them in, and that's because of accounting standards. So it's always, you're adding it, but you may be adding a negative number. And that seemed to be pretty important in the book. I don't know why, but I figured I would say it the way they said it, because I am trying to just give the information from the book as I received it. So you go pull in your depreciation amortization, which we have here at $475 million, plus the net change in the accounts receivable. Accounts receivable is money that you are billing to people, money that is owed to you from other people. These are accounts, let's say like a financial account, that you are going to be receiving money, so it's receivable. So if I basically sell you, say I sell you a house from myself, and let me not use that because people are used to buying that through banks with mortgages. Say that I sell you a car, okay, and I tell you that I will I'll allow you to pay me in increments over time. Well, that money that I'm expecting to get from you over time, that's in my accounts receivable. So that's money that's going to be coming to me for something that I already provided. So I already did the service or gave the product, and now it's like a payment plan coming in. So that's accounts receivable for a business. Accounts payable is your bills out. This is the money that you owe to other companies. So if what did I just say that I was going to sell you? A car. So if I bought that car from someone else and I had to pay them back on the car, this is actually more relevant to the real estate situation where someone borrows money to buy a house and then have somebody pay for the mortgage, basically. So, but the account payable is what I owe to them. So accounts receivable is the money you can bill other people for stuff you've already done, and accounts payable are bills that you owe for things that you've already received. So it's just about being on two different ends of that same relationship. Accounts receivable, accounts payable. Again, this is all really easily accessed right on the Twitter financial statements. So what am I looking for here? Accounts receivable. That's so annoying, these ads. Go away. Okay. So here you can see the income tax, which is something that we need in the future. I'm just going to kind of mention that now while we're in there, but it must be on the cash flow statement. Yep, right here, accounts receivable. So it's really easy to find these things as long as you look on each of the three. It doesn't take too long, and you'll get, like, I'll remember hopefully one day where they are and be a little bit better about navigating through this. There's your accounts receivable. I do remember there was something weird about the accounts payable where I had to look somewhere else for it. Oh, probably under the liabilities. Yep, so under the liabilities you have accounts payable. So you pull those numbers, put them in your spreadsheet, boom, accounts receivable, accounts payable. Easy as that. That was a nice tone. I hope you teach a lot of people new stuff today. Thank you, Super Pro. Me too. Would monthly sponsorship be an accounts receivable? Monthly sponsorship is an accounts receivable? Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of. That's more of a subscription though. It's a good example, but accounts receivable would be more like somebody owes me money. Like let's say I gave them a yoga session and told them they could pay for it next month. That's more like an accounts receivable. The monthly sponsorships, it's not like they got something and they're paying it off over time, right? It's more like they're paying for what they're getting each month. So I don't really view it as accounts receivable, but maybe it would be like Netflix. I wonder if they consider that an account receivable. I don't think so. I think it would just be the money that's owed for things that were already rendered that weren't paid for yet. But it's a good question because I'm not totally sure about that. Saul, I no longer trust you with all of these investment advice. Hi Sonam, how are you? And like I just talked about the income tax, that was on let me go back here. That was on the income statement. But here we go. So we took the net income. We got all of these numbers. All we're doing is just adding these numbers together. Like Josh said, it's just basic addition. You just have to go pull the numbers. That's the pain in the neck. You have to go in here and say, okay, which one is it on? All right, where's income tax? Okay, I don't see it on here. Is it on this one? You click it if it lets you, which it doesn't because it hates you because you're live, and then you click it. And then you scroll down, you see income tax, you're like, woo, yeah, there it is. And then you just pull the numbers for the last 4 years, put them in your spreadsheet, boom, 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 done. You can see that there's 3 zeros on the end of all my numbers because if you go look at these numbers, at the top it has this sneaky little thing that says values in the thousands. So when I thought this was $2.4 million, it's actually $2.4 billion. All right. So we put all the numbers in, right? Oh, wait, there's one more that I didn't talk about. This is the most confusing number that we deal with, okay? The maintenance capital expenditures. Are you guys still with me? Maintenance capital expenditures. It's always a negative number. This is what the company pays. I'm going to look at how they say it in the book because this is another thing that was confusing me and I don't want to confuse it further. I would rather read it to you and then we can discuss it together. Okay. Income tax. Okay. Maintenance capital expenditures, and I'm reading this from here. Why don't I change cameras here? I'm reading this from the book called Invested by Danielle and Phil Town. Maintenance capital expenditures is the tough number here because maddeningly, companies are not required to separate it out from total capital expenditures, usually called purchase of property and equipment. Maintenance capital expenditures represents the money spent on the long-term stuff that has to be replaced just to keep the business going. In a rental house, it's stuff like the roof shingles and HVAC every 15 years, the appliances every 7 years, and exterior painting every 5 years. In a business with well-kept financial statements, the number for maintenance capital expenditures will be described in the cash flows from investing activities noted in the cash flow statement. However, since many companies do not break out maintenance capital expenditures in their notes, we have to understand the business well enough to estimate the average annual cost. Oh, thank you, Super Pro. Quote, I look for notes that describe the capital expenditures and purchase of property and equipment expenditures for growth. Things like new restaurants or new production facilities. Andy Kaufman. No! Joe, I don't even remember who that is. Don't judge me. And separate those amounts out, my dad explained. We're just focused on what it costs in cash to keep things running. Worst case, I use the full purchase of property and equipment number and take note that it is a larger number than it should be and that I may not understand this company as well as I should. So for me, when I went and looked at Twitter's financial statements, I did not see any notes about the capital expenditures. So all I had to go on here was what they have listed on their cash flow statements. Which is, like they said, it's going to be under cash flows from investing activities, capital expenditures, investments, other investing activities, and net cash flows. So I just took this number because there were no notes and there's really no way to tell exactly what they're spending that on. I know that investing isn't a necessary, thing to happen to have your business run. Like Twitter doesn't have to be investing to be Twitter, right? Like important things for Twitter are like the database centers where they rent the data storage houses and have their servers, up and running. Like that's important for Twitter, that people can tweet and have ads. It's not so important that they make money off of investing that they have. Now, if they make money off of that, great, that's awesome. But it's not a necessary, it's not a maintenance expenditure or a growth expenditure per se. So this is something where I would actually leave out the investing activities and just use the capital expenditures number, which is what you'll see that I did here on the maintenance capital expenditures. Okay, sorry, just making sure that it matched. Say what? The plot thickens, the money gets bigger. Yeah, by the thousands. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Hey, Power Machine 12, how are you? So that's why I picked that number. If you hate it, I'm sorry. I'm trying, okay? And then you have your owner earnings. It's a lovely thing. So as you can see here, you just take those numbers we just talked about, which are all found on the statements. It's not rocket science. You're not guessing these numbers. All of these are hard numbers. There's no estimated growth rate. There's no estimated P to E ratio. There's no estimating anything. Maybe a little bit of estimate on the maintenance capital expenditures, but mostly it's exact numbers. You take that whole thing and you end up with your owner earnings. So if I give you a little sneak peek into, sorry, I just want to make this a little bigger. Why can't I make you bigger? So if we take a little sneak peek into my owner earnings formula, you'll see that I take the net profit, which is C2, and then I add up all those other numbers that we just talked about, C13 through C17, and I end up with my owner earnings, which is $720 million. Oh wait, I found, dub. There, right here, is it that one? That one. Okay, anyway, move on. Dub's looking for all the 69s. All right, so then you take this number and multiply it by 10. Boop, that's your 10 cap price. So that is the maximum price you would be willing to buy the entire company for. In this case, $7.2 billion. And if you divide that by your number of shares that Twitter has, which again, you can find just by Googling, really easy. Just put like Twitter outstanding shares. If you forget what it's called, just put like how many shares does Twitter have. You'll find the same. You'll find the same thing. In the NASDAQ, it'll give you the exact number, which is here 761,250,000. Hopefully that's the same number I have. Yes. So if you just divide that number by the number of shares, then you come up with your earnings per share. Is that right? Is this the number that I want? No, sorry, not earnings per share. You will come up with how much you would be willing to pay per share with the 10 cap price. So I'm actually going to insert a row here because this is actually getting, this earnings per share is actually into the next pricing strategy. So what I would rather, oh no, okay, sorry, I put that below. I think I would rather that be above. Hang on. Sorry guys, I'm improving my spreadsheet live in front of your face. have been easier if I had that in the better order so you guys didn't have to get confused. So again, if I just take this number, okay, here, I just added up the numbers we just talked about. I took this number, I multiplied it by 10. That just clicked, I think. Yes, Josh, that makes me so happy. Multiply by 10. Take that number, divide it by the number of shares, and that tells me what my 10 cap price per share would be, which is $9. Now, this is a pricing strategy that's more effective for private companies. However, we do apply it to public companies anyway because we don't invest the way that the rest of the market invests. We only buy things when they're on sale. So we would only buy Twitter if it was $9 or less. And right now it's like $32 per share. In 2016, it would have been $4 per share. Now, what Charlie Munger says is that a public company typically sells for about twice the price of what a private company would sell for. Let me say that again. A public company will typically sell for about twice the price of what a private company would sell for. Still, they don't want to spend more than this if they can help it. However, what's interesting to me is that in October of 2017, I bought this stock in Twitter for $18, which is exactly twice of what it would be as a private company. So I still don't feel like that was a very bad buy. But when I got this number, this was like a eureka moment for me because I was like, this just tells me if Twitter costs $9 a share, we're buying it. That would be a reasonable price to own whatever portion of the company you want to get, however many $9 of pieces you want to get of this 761 million piece pie. It's a really big pie. So that, as far as like how much you invest, that's going to be up to you. How much money you have to invest, how much you want to put in each company, that's all up to you. But to me, this number is like the most glorious thing I've ever seen. Can't buy private companies till you have $1 million net worth. Right. To be a certified investor or accredited. Agreed, yes. But they still want to get private company prices, basically. So now we're going to get into the next form of pricing. So that was the first one. We made it. That was 10 cap. That means that the owner earnings, which is found by adding all of these numbers together, that gives you your owner earnings. Multiply that number by 10, divide it by the number of shares, and that is a good price for the company you're looking at. So if you see that price or lower, that's a very good indication. However, you can run it through these two other tests, these two other forms of pricing, so you can find kind of like a comfortable range of the price. It should all kind of fall near each other, but you'll see that the third one is always going to be pretty much higher because it's more based on public company numbers. Kind of confusing. I can feel the confusion coming out of my mouth, but how many shares did I get? 30. I think it's 1 mil net worth or over 200K annual income. Oh, okay. Thanks, Osbodo1Me. Appreciate that. So we just talked about 10 cap. Now we're going to get into payback time price. This one's a little bit trickier, but try to stay with me here. If you need me to repeat anything or go over anything again or slow down or explain definitions or just if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the comments and I will do my best to help you out. We're going to learn together. I am new to this myself. 30 is better than 0. That's true. I made almost twice. So I invested $500. It's worth almost $1,000 now. No, yeah, exactly. I only invested $500. Investing in a private company is like getting off-market real estate. Yeah. So we're not going to find offers like that right now at the level that I'm investing, but I still know at least how to price a company. And we always want to think in terms that we were going to buy the entire company. So even though we probably aren't going to, we're looking at that number. What is the whole company worth? What do we think is a reasonable amount to pay for that company? And then how much does it actually cost? And do we think it's worth that price? Take it slower. I didn't know I was going to be studying. I'm sorry. And you can take screenshots of this stuff, guys, too, so that you can go and make your own little spreadsheets. Dub bought Apple last night? You bought Apple or you bought an Apple? Or you bought an Apple product? One of my neighbors is cooking and it smells delicious. Okay. Payback time price. Here we go. This one's we're going to get this. You at least got the 10 cap price, right? If you think you understood what I just said about the 10 cap pricing, put a 1 in the chat. If you want me to go over it again, put a 2 in the chat. If you want me to go over 10 cap again, put a 2 in the chat. If you think you got it, put a 1. I just want to kind of like gauge where you guys are at. You bought an apple, like an actual apple. Did you take a bite into it and then like stare at it? Okay, Josh got the 10 cap pricing, and he's the top contributor of Super Hearts in this broadcast. Dub got it. Nice, guys. Over 10,000 Super Hearts. Yes, Josh, you just added another $5 to your sponsorship total. At this rate, you're going to be in our private Discord group. Freaking appreciate you, man. Thank you. I hope that this helps you to make some money too, because so far I've made almost $500. Us slower folks can always rewatch this scope. That's true. That's true. I think it was about an hour and 11 minutes when we got into the pricing, the meat of the content, which was about 20 minutes ago. So you're right. For replay viewers, why don't we move on to the next page, because they can pause and go back. And if you guys want me to slow down live, I do prioritize my live viewers. So if you're, if you need me to slow down, just mention it and I'll slow my roll. Okay. So we passed through 10 cap. Now we're going to go to the payback time price. So this is based, hey Josie. Oh, actually I have cowbell still. Wait, actually I don't know if cowbell works on this scene. I think we got to switch back to this scene. Cowbell? Oh, did you hear cowbell when I did it before? Okay, all right. Back to work. Oh wait, that's not right. Okay. You're a fart smeller. I'm a pretty fart smeller. Hey, Amit DMR. Payback time price. Payback time price. Payback time price. So this is where you're trying to figure out how much the company would need to grow each year for you to get paid back in that many years. So for example, what we're going to be figuring out is, if I bought this company today, how much would they have to grow? How much would they have to, let me see if I'm saying this right. I'm going to go look at it. Oh, okay. So what we're figuring out is how much you would pay today to get your money back, or to get a return on your investment in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, all the way to 8 years. They use 8 years. I forget, it says in the book. Again, I don't really care why on a lot of this stuff. Something about how like there's you do 16 years, but then we don't want to wait 16 years to make our money back, so we take that in half to like 8 years. It's something like that, okay? So as you can see here, let's just make it, let me show you the conclusion first so you understand why we're doing all this. This is telling me that if I want to get my money back from my Twitter investment in 8 years, then I'm going to want to buy it for $11. College reports done last minute on a Sunday night, right? I actually worked on this yesterday and the day before, so this is a few days in the making. And actually you guys saw me start working on it even before that. But I really developed this and made it pretty awesome, I think, over this time. So let's check out how we figure out this number. So we want to figure out what this basically is. It's the free cash flow grown by the compounded estimated growth rate for 8 years. So that's the power of compounding, right? Is over time, that something that was maybe like $1, the next, if it goes up by 10%, okay, then it's $1.10. But now it's 10 cents of $1.10 that you add on, and then it's 10% of that, and then it's 10% of that, and it just becomes a higher number you're getting 10% on every year. So this part you have to pick yourself based on the numbers we looked at earlier. So these percentages that we discussed earlier in the broadcast, which are the percentage change in these numbers over time, and keep in mind most of the negatives on this page are actually not really very accurate. They're actually representing growth as opposed to a loss, but because the company operated at a loss, the number comes back as a negative. So just to show you, from here, they went from losing $456 million to losing $108 million. So that's actually better. That's actually a 76% increase. But because the numbers are negative, and dividing something by a negative number gives you a negative number, we end up with what looks to be like it went down 76%, which is not true. So you do have to use some discernment when you look at this, and maybe there's a better way to do it, let me know. But this number here, this negative number, is legit. So the revenue actually did drop 3% from 2016 to 2017, but the net profit went up 76%. So that to me is still good. It's still a good sign. Can't you change the formula? Change the formula for what? Hey, Mayan hieroglyphics. Remember that depreciation never affects the cash flow. It's only an accounting issue. Actually, we do calculate the depreciation and amortization when we're determining owner earnings in order to calculate the 10 cap price, which we just did right before this. But if you want me to go over it again, let me know. Negative 12 million income tax. I know, Josh, I know. Fem Yoga scroll. What do you mean, Johnny? The number crunching. Change the formula. Well, what I'm doing is I'm taking the difference between these two numbers, because what I have to do is I have to determine the amount that it grows. So because they're negative numbers, I can't divide it by a positive number because I'm dividing it by itself. You get what I'm like? Do you see the formula up here? Let me make sure you can even see that on your screen. Yeah, it's C2 minus D2 divided by D2. So it's like I can't really make it like a negative, because once that number goes positive, if I have a negative in my formula, then it's going to make false negatives. Whereas for me, for this, I realize because they're negative numbers that they're basically inverted, you know. But again, this is like my own cheat sheet. So if it doesn't work for you, if you find a better formula, I'm going to try something, let me know, I'll try it. But this is so far what I have after the past few days. So we look at that, and then what we do is we come up with a number, this percentage. So based on the percentages here, we want to come up with what we think would be an estimated growth rate for this company year after year. But we do not take the average. He kind of like laughed when she asked if you should just take the average, because you can see like there's just numbers all over the board. This is a 712% growth. This is 5,750% growth, just because the numbers were, you know what I mean? Because the numbers are small, the laws of small numbers, you end up with these crazy percentages. Like, do we really think Twitter's going to keep growing at 368% a year or 99% a year? We're not really going to take the averages. We're kind of trying to get a feel for like the general movement. And for me, I also want to know basically like the minimum growth. I don't want to assume they're going to keep having great year after year after year. I want to take kind of a conservative number. So the number I went with is 10%. But you could pick any number you want. And this is where investors and analysts don't agree. You know, we have different ideas and different ways we like to do things. Some people are more risky. Some people are more conservative. I'm definitely more on the conservative end of the spectrum, I think. I mean, I even think that 10% growth is kind of, to say that it would grow 10% each year is kind of, I feel like it's maybe even a stretch, but we're going with it, okay? 10%. So that is what I use for my payback time formula. I took the free cash flow from 2017. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to figure out how to calculate the free cash flow. Unfortunately, the government doesn't pay you for negative tax. They just call it zero owed. Negative tax? I know this is my profession. Just wanted to mention it affects the financial statement, not cash flow. Oh, for depreciation? Yeah, so that's found on what the... Depreciation is found on the cash flow statements. So it affects the operating cash flow. Hey Franco, how are you? Alright, so back to this. So that's what the estimated growth rate is. And we'll calculate that out for 8 years. So that's what I was showing you, sorry. Is that I just used 10% down the line. 10% per year. Yes, for depreciation. If you write off more than you owe, they just call it even. Oh yeah, they don't like, yeah. No, they'll give you money back too. They pay you. I had them do that before. Because last year, Fem Yoga only made like $20,000 or something. So, and I spent a lot of that on travel and like content creation and tech and stuff. So, I ended up actually getting a return. It was like $30 or something, and I was like so mad. I was like, no, I don't want the money. I think I might have even like changed how much I wrote down just so that it was zero rather than like me getting money from them, because I didn't want that. I'm like, no, I don't want your stupid money. Credits are given back, yeah. It was to me even as self-employed for the whole year. All right. And I don't know why that is. There must be some reason. Self-employment. I don't know, but it said I was owed some money, so we should travel together, Franco. Are we going to Peru? So pick your estimated growth rate, put that in your spreadsheet, and then this is how we calculate the free cash flow. So it's a shorter formula than we had here for the 10 cap, which is nice. The only thing is, I don't know, to me it's still a little bit more complicated, but maybe less so now that I've been studying it for a few days. So we take the net cash from operating activities, which is the net cash from, or what do we call this? Operating cash flow, what were we calling it before? Operating cash. On the cash flow statement, it'll be cash flows operating activities, and then you'll be looking for the net cash flow for the operating activities. And that's the number that we're using here for operating cash. You didn't pay anything in that year. Maybe I did it wrong. You put where you want to go. I want to go to Easter Island, which is in Chile, but it's a really long flight, so I was thinking stop in Peru and then go to Chile. But my next trip is actually a cruise, but it's a private cruise. I'm not like inviting people to come from Periscope. And then I might have some life changes coming down the pike, so we will see. Hi, Donna. She said, I hate math. Do it in ASMR. Hi, Artie. Is that water bottle super loud when I drink it? Yay! Okay. Where are we? Let's do it in ASMR. I'm gonna get rid of my wish. Well, actually, we're talking about the wish list later. We'll see. We'll see if we get there. All right. So we take the operating cash. We add the purchase of property and equipment, even though it's a negative number, and then we add the other capital expenditures for maintenance and growth, also negative. So that to me is the same number that I used for capital expenditures before, right here. Maintenance capital expenditures. We talked about it earlier in the broadcast. I used the same number. Tell me if you think that's wrong. I don't know what to say. What did I not put my estimated growth rate? Oh, there it is. And that gave me this amount for free cash flow. So we took the operating cash, we added our maintenance capital expenditures. I called it the same thing. I feel like she was switching terms a lot. It was kind of confusing. I'm doing my best. And I like the numbers that came out. They were close enough to each other that I thought, hey, I think I did that right. So the payback time. So I put in the free cash flow for 2017. Excuse me. Estimated growth, 10%. We're expecting it to grow $67 million. Estimated growth in FCF, free cash flow. And then you add that in. So you take this amount, you add it to this amount, and you end up with this amount. And then you take 10% of that. So this is the power of compounding, right? And then you end up with this amount. Then you take this, add it to this, you end up with this amount. Add this, add 10%, boom, add 10%. So you see how 10% keeps, like at first it was 10% of, let's say, $67. But then by the end, you're taking 10% of $143. So it grows on itself without you having to do anything, as long as you pick a company that's going to continue to steadily grow and not go out of business or have bad years. You know what I mean? This is ideally, in our ideal circumstance, it goes up at least this much each year. There's no guarantee that it will do so. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Right. So then, let's see if I remember how this was all worked out. Price. E3 plus B4. I don't know if I remember what this means. Inflation needs to be factored in. Well, you're just going to assume that you're losing 3% every year to inflation. So what we're looking at is what dollar amount are we going to have at the end of this, not like what buying power is it going to have. It's going to lose 3% every year, like every dollar is going to. But we're not trying to complicate the math here. We're just trying to figure out what's the dollar amount that we'll have. Because it's not like the company doesn't grow 10% because of inflation, right? It's just that the dollar becomes 3% less valuable. All right. But good point about inflation. We've talked about that a lot. You don't want you to just let your money sit in the savings account and lose 3% each year. Right. Yeah, Josh. In this case, because it's universal, it's not something that comes into play with what we're calculating here, but it is important to know about for sure. I totally agree with that. Who had said that? T905. Yeah, totally. It's like vitally important for sure to be aware of the power of inflation on our money, right? And what it's going to, it's going to be worth that much less in 2025. So I'm just going to look this up and make sure that I actually did my formulas correctly. Because again, I think this is one of those things where I'm like, I don't exactly get it. But I'm just kind of going for it. Yeah, she's adding those numbers together. Taking that number and then adding that and that number and adding that. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, right. Okay, so this is the expected growth in free cash flow, but this is the actual free cash flow. So here, this is the free cash flow added basically to itself. You just add to this price. Hopefully that makes sense. So like the first year, you just start out with your whatever price, that's the year that you get it. So you don't really get the benefit of the growth until the first year after owning it. So here, if it goes up 10%, you get this, which I feel like shouldn't this be this plus this? No, wait, this is this plus this. I basically just copied what she had, which is that this number equals this number, and then it starts adding to this number, and that gives you this number, which you add to this number, and that gives you this number, which you add to this number. I don't know if I fully understand why, but I do know, hi Carlos, but I do know, what kind of homework is this? I already went to college. This is the kind of homework that makes you money. Maybe. I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not an accountant. I can't guarantee this is going to make you any money at all. Results may differ. Thanks for the hearts, guys. Carlos is one of our monthly sponsors, so he's entered in our $100 giveaway, which is actually less than 2 weeks away. It's on the 17th of every month. It does when comparing international corporations exposed for different inflations in different coins. Oh, in different countries? Okay, so luckily in this case we're dealing with an American country, so that's 3% inflation. But you're right, if you're dealing with other currencies and other economies, the inflationary rate may be different. So I thank you for correcting that. For American companies, we're going to assume 3% inflation on the American dollar. Really, it's anything that you're buying in American dollars, though, right? So if their financial reports are in American dollars, I think you can still run these reports. You can hear my voice getting quieter because I'm not as confident in what I'm saying anymore. Hi, Shay! Hi! Did you do a broadcast about, have you ever got groceries delivered? I have got groceries delivered. I didn't watch your replay yet, but I have had groceries delivered, and it's awesome. Actually, Katie sent groceries to my house during one of my broadcasts last week because she is awesome. Do we have to memorize these numbers by tomorrow? Yes, they will be on the test. When investing in currencies, I'm sure they do factor it. Right. I'm a monthly sponsor, but now I feel like I need to open up a new Roth account and invest in pork. Invest in pork. I think I need a Roth IRA as well. I think I do. So this ends up being the price. This is what they call it. Cumulative free cash flow and payback time by price. Maybe I should just payback time by price. What? I don't know what that means. Payback time by price. Because it's also cumulative FCF. Yeah, we don't know what that means, but that's what that column is about. I mean, I know that it's what it is. It's the cumulative free cash flow, but I don't know why that's the payback time price. But apparently that's what it is. So to get all of your money back in 1 year, you would have had to buy per share, you would have had to pay $1 per share. If you're willing to wait 2 years to get paid back, then it's $2, $3, $4. Once you get to, how many years out is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you get to the year 5, now we're at $6. $7, $9, $11. So after 8 years, your payback time price per share is $11 per share, which is $2 more than we got with the 10 cap price, which is $9. But that lets us know that that's in the right range. So now we have two verifications of pricing. We have the 10 cap price, which we talked about, which was $9 per share. And we have the payback time price, which we talked about, which is $11 per share. So those are pretty close. So like $9 to $11, that's a good price for that stock. I did learn this from a book. Don't I learn everything from books, Danny? Boom. Thanks for sponsoring us last month, Danny. I appreciate that. Is anyone else hungry? I'm hungry. I want some tacos. But I don't have tacos. I remembered when I had $50K in my 401k before I was married. Did you take it out for the baby? I have a Roth IRA. Don't hack me. Okay, I'll try not to hack you. Too legit to quit. I like how you spelled your name in Lee speak. I don't know anything about this. Oh, you want me to start over? Twitter is an international global company with revenues from different countries. That's true, but all of their reports are done in American dollars. Who's sending me super hearts? It just deleted all my comments. I lost all the comments. Oh, Finley, thank you for the super hearts. I don't know why they all just disappeared, but that's okay. We're gonna move on. So that was the book, again, Invested by Danielle Town. So now we have the price in our heads of $9 to $11 would be a great price for Twitter stock. However, it costs $32 today. So we're not going to buy it today, are we? No. But we are going to do a third pricing, which will bring it closer to $32, because this pricing method is based on public company numbers instead of private. I don't know why they do it this way, but they basically run these three forms of pricing, and then they decide what price they think is reasonable, and they buy it, or they sell it, or whatever. So, and we'll talk about when to sell as well. Have you thought about doing a Roth IRA, Josh? I was reading about that in the book today, and it's like a way to put the money away tax-free, so you can use it as like an expense from your business. I think that's what I was understanding. You can put a maximum of $5,500 per year into a traditional IRA or Roth IRA. You can split that amount between the two, and that is sorry, I'm like, my mind is distracted. I just started thinking about something else, and that you don't pay tax on it. But I think the Roth IRA, you do pay income tax, and then you put the money in, but the money isn't taxed when you take it out or something. I couldn't fully understand the difference between the two, but the traditional IRA is a lot more complicated and has a lot more regulations. So the author of the book was recommending Roth IRA. And I've had some other friends recommend the same thing to me, so I'm starting to look into that more. All right, Frank, I'll catch you later. BS2, BS4, what is that? Why does everyone say I look smaller than usual? Oh, because the freaking tiny square. We can say what we want. Sure. Also look at PDE value. Johnny, I got this, man. I got this. You be the audience. I'll be the broadcaster. We're going to get to the end of this together. And if I miss anything, you just let me know. Because as you can see on my screen, there's the PDE ratio right there. You already brought it up once earlier. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was someone else. But I addressed it then. We're going to get there. We got this. We're all moving through this at the same pace. And now I'm getting Sling for her. I'm saving $120. Mad as you cut the cable. Oh, you cut the cable. Oh, so that you can support Fem Yoga. Thanks. Hey, Vanita, how are you? How are you, lovely? So we're on our third form of pricing, the margin of safety valuation. This is the easiest math of all. The easiest math of all. So our minimum acceptable rate of return, according to Phil Town, is 15%. It is always 15%, 15%, 15%. Got it? What's the minimum acceptable rate of return? First person to say it correctly gets a follow, if I don't already follow them. What's the minimum acceptable rate of return, you guys? I just said it like 10 times. You have the leaf antenna. Hi Benita. I met Benita in New York City. In person, in the flesh. She's on my list of like 100 people that I've met. Can I buy you some magic beans? You might grow. 14% Kevin, man, that's great. 8% Josh says, wow. It's on the screen, you guys. Minimum acceptable rate of return. Is it not on the screen? Yeah, it's on the screen. Like, this is not. Okay, there it is, Josh. I think I already follow you, right, Josh? Yeah, I already follow you, but good work. 15%. Okay. I'm like, are you guys serious right now? So we're going to take our earnings per share, which is the net income divided by the number of shares that you have. I'm actually going to write that because I don't know if I'll remember that in the future. Net income divided by shares. And we're going to multiply that by our estimated growth rate out 10 years. And if you remember, my estimated growth rate is 10%. You're going to pick your own estimated growth rate based on whatever you think this company may grow over time by looking at the numbers and how they've grown in the past, which I highlighted a moment ago. Excuse me, sorry. So you just kind of like look at the numbers, spend some time, meditate a bit, and pick a number that you think that it might grow per year for the next 10 years. I picked 10%. Danny, thank you for the super Danny's. Appreciate that. And you guys pick whatever you want. And then you're going to take your 10-year, wait, go back. Earnings per share is down here, which is our net income divided by the number of shares. So net income or net profit or net loss divided by the number of shares gives us our earnings per share, which is actually a loss. We're losing 14 cents per share. And if we take that number and we extrapolate it out to 10% growth per year, here you'll see times 1.1. So we're trying to, basically I could have done this on some of the other spreadsheets, but the way that she talked about it changed in this third method evaluation. So this is, instead of me adding the numbers together, it's basically just taking the number and adding the percentage to it itself. So by multiplying by 1.1 instead of 0.1, I save myself from having to add the two numbers together. Genius. So the problem is it was a loss at first. So if you multiply that by 10%, you end up going up 15 cents and you end up with 1 cent. So then 10% of 1 cent brings you to 2 cents, brings you to 5 cents, 10 cents, 21 cents. But in 10 years, we are at $8.74 per share, earnings per share, 10 years from now. That's pretty, my best spreadsheet is on my bed. Danny, why do I feel like you're a perv? I'm just kidding. We all have beds and we all have sheets. It's not perverted. That's my own head. So that's actually pretty encouraging, I think, and it shows you the power of compounding. And it shows you the importance, too, of being able to kind of like look out into the future and say, do you think Twitter has what it takes to grow 10% every year for the next 10 years? Some of you may not. I do. So we're all going to be different on what we think of these numbers. But that's what I think. And then we take our estimated P/E ratio, which is another number, which I hope I have written down. Yes. So we're taking the estimated ratio, which is the lesser of these two numbers. So it's either 2 times your estimated growth rate, really simple, right? My estimated growth rate is 10%. I take that number times 2, I end up with 20. I'm not doing a percentage, it's just the number 20. So it's either 20 P/E ratio or the highest P/E registered with this company in the last 10 years. There have been times where Twitter has a P/E ratio of like 155. P/E stands for price to earnings ratio, so price divided by earnings. So 20 is the lesser number of 155 or whatever other crazy numbers they had. So the number is 20. That's the number that I'm using. So I'm taking my earnings per share, multiplying that out by my estimated growth rate for 10 years. Then I take that and multiply it by my estimated P/E ratio, which is 20. And then I just divide it by 4 and divide it by 2. So easy. I love it. Okay. So I took this times 20, this number times 20. I divided it by 1.15. That's not right. Is that right? Divided by 4, divided by 2. What is this? We were so close, guys. We almost got to the end, and now I'm like, what does this mean? Here, I'll let you, well, actually, yeah, you can look at it, see if you can figure it out in the meantime. So hungry, I might not be able to finish the whole book tonight. Okay. That's weird. I don't know why I wrote it like that. Let me look at her spreadsheet here. She doesn't really have a spreadsheet. Divided by 4. Yeah, why do I have divided by... So the calculation is divided by 1.15 to the exponent of the number of years, but for 10 years it's always 4. 1.15 to the 10th power is 4. So I feel like I messed this up. I don't know what this middle thing is here. I was probably getting to the end and I was getting pretty tired. Sorry, I keep looking at the wrong camera. So I actually don't think I need this because I want to take this times 4, divided by 4. We're just going to delete it and see what happens. 12 divided by 4. It's the same number. Okay, let's undo what I just did. So what is this? That's nothing. I don't know what that is. We're deleting it. That did not happen. Okay. So a reasonable price for this, so you take it, you divide it by 4, and that gives you what a reasonable price for this stock per share would be, and then the margin of safety price. Margin of safety price is you just take a reasonable price and you divide it by 2, because you are trying to get good deals, you're trying to get sales, you're trying to buy value, you're not trying to pay the sticker price for something. If something is worth $43, we want to try to get it for 22. That's the bottom line here. So this is much closer to what Twitter actually costs today. But I would put this way of pricing as my maximum amount that I would pay for any share. So because it's right now $32 or so, $34, then it's higher. Well, where am I? Higher than my maximum price of $21.84, so I would not buy it now. I would keep an eye on it and wait for it to go below $21.84, make sure no new reports, no new events happen, get fresh on my news, make sure my numbers are as fresh and up to date and accurate as they can be, and then maybe pull the trigger if I'm feeling it, right? It's all about what you want to do, not up to me. I am going to end on that because I don't want to push myself too hard tonight and have my stomach be grumbling the whole time. So we can talk more about this tomorrow. We do have, let me switch cameras. Actually, let's just quickly recap what we talked about today. We talked about management numbers. We did actually briefly go over the big 4 numbers too. I talked about what now I'm looking at the wrong camera again. I talked about what, oh no, I'm not. No, wait. How can you guys tell I can't see myself when I broadcast? I always have to go peek at it and see what's going on my screen. So we talked about what those 4 numbers mean: the net profit or income, the earnings, the sales or revenue, the book value or the equity, and the operating cash from the cash flow statement. We talked about the management numbers, the return on the equity, and the return on the invested capital. We talked about 3 different forms of pricing, so you can decide, basically do a valuation of a company and decide what you think that stock should be worth. So the 10 cap pricing, the payback time price, and the margin of safety valuation. I encourage you to watch this replay, take as many screenshots as you want. You can hide the chat on Periscope. I assume you can do that on other broadcasts or other platforms as well, like Twitch and YouTube, where we are also live. Make sure you're following us all the places, including Instagram, because sometimes we go live over there too, and Instagram doesn't allow us to multicast like we're doing now. Whew! Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. We covered a lot. We spent over 2 hours on this topic today. I would say that's a pretty good length class. I think I'm probably losing most of your attention span at this point. We will finish probably tomorrow. Maybe not. I might be traveling tomorrow. I just realized that I have a split screen guest, so I probably can't travel tomorrow. Okay. So, and I'll scroll back through comments. But tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we have a split screen guest coming on, Catherine of the Tranquil Me app. We're going to be talking about the value of meditation, talking about her app, talking about her Periscope channel. So make sure you come in and check out Catherine. Also, Lorena will be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, getting you guys outside in the sunshine, getting the fresh air, getting your body moving. On Tuesday night, we're launching Chris Angeles, our newest content creator and the only musician on this channel. She sings, she plays guitar, she's awesome. She'll be live for the first time on this channel ever at 9 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday night, which is midnight for us here on the East Coast. I'm in Tampa, Florida here. Josh is in Florida too. You should be around then. Yes, that makes me happy. Market cap, all future cash flow discounted to time 0. Thanks so much. Thank you, Josh. So was serious question, Gabby, investors you got. Wait, what? Why real estate interests me more right now? Hey, we all have different interests, you know, especially like for me, Twitter is a very interesting company because it's in my industry and it's my job. But for someone else, other industries are going to be more interesting. So you could even invest in real estate companies if you didn't want to actually invest in real estate. But you could do that too. And I don't have any experience with real estate investing, so you're going to want to get a different teacher on that one. We'll get there though. We'll get there. Compound interest doesn't really take off till you get to big money. It does though in terms of percentage, you know what I mean? So you're still getting a great return on your investment with compounding. I am a perv. Have you went through EBITDA and EVA? I don't know what EVA is. We did talk about EBITDA, I think in the first or second of this series. I think so. And I think I got all the comments there. Hey, Eric. Good stuff, you guys. Make sure that you sign up for monthly sponsorships, subscribe for monthly subscriptions to this channel because you'll be entered to win $100 every month if you do that. So you just go to femyoga.com, you click support, and you sign up for the monthly sponsorships. I can actually show you if we go over here. It's like, why you gotta tell me? Just show me. So if you go to femyoga.com, the link is in my profile. You can watch this video. It's like 3.5 minutes. It's a YouTube video about what this channel is all about, what the purpose of this channel is, why we do this, why we do what we do. And if you like it, you can click the support button and then see what level you think. Whatever value you found from the content, I like to think of the sponsorships as like a way to say thank you for whatever you've gained, whatever value you found from the channel. It's free, obviously, you're here free, right? But you can choose to support the channel at any level. So you do get extra benefits, like your name is on the screen, you get moderation privileges, you get access to private groups, things like that. But I really encourage you to support because of the content of the channel, not just because of the rewards. The rewards are like a bonus, but think of it as like you're keeping the channel going, because that is what it does. I just add these extra little perks and bonuses to show you like how much it really helps and to say thank you and we really appreciate you. We couldn't do this without you, and it's so true. So the monthly sponsorships is the first option here. You just pick whatever level that you want and then click subscribe. And here you can put your Periscope username so that I know what name to put on the scrolling list on the screen, or you can put like something you like about the channel. Maybe I'll include it in our success stories, which you can find up in the menu as well. So like different, you know, positive feedback that we get from different people. And you can read through that if you ever want some positive words. I mean, this makes me feel so good when I see all that, all the positivity that Fem Yoga has created, because that's the purpose of this channel. It really is. If you don't want to do the monthlies, that's okay. Remember, if you don't do monthly, you won't be entered in the $100 giveaway on the 17th, but you can support the channel just one time. If you don't like the monthly bills, I get it. You can do it this way too. Whatever amount, you know, click add to cart. So that's how you'll know. If you're doing a monthly, it's going to say subscribe. If you're doing a one-time, it's going to say add to cart. Or if you like to know exactly what your money goes towards, I'm like just wondering if it's going to show my address before I'm ready for it. So let me just screen it first. Yeah. So you can see I have like a trapeze, a yoga swing, the trapeze door, the suspension hooks. I have a bunch of different books on here. You can kind of tell what I'm interested in reading about right now. I have Poor Charlie's Almanac, Conscious Capitalism, Risk Intelligence, Valuation, Rule Number 1, Getting to Yes, Autobiography of Andrew Carnegie. Oh wait, I don't need these anymore. I already got those. Command strips, Unlimited Wealth, The New Trading for a Living, Trading Tools. Why is this on here? What? I don't want that. Investing All-in-One for Dummies, Organic Protein, Stone Soup, The Snowball, Warren Buffett and the Business of Life, Good to Great, Why Some Companies Make Leaps and others don't, some chargers. I need more chargers, actually. Let's put chargers on here. I left my charger at Ty Lopez's house. Where is like the, what am I doing here? Feels weird being watched. Price. Boom, let's get some cheap ones. No, I don't like those ones. I like the braided ones. Yeah, I like this. How many is this? It was like one? Oh, it's a 4-pack? 4-pack. 3, 6, and 10. Okay. Of how many though? Like 3 feet, 6 feet, 2 6-foots. Okay, fine by me. Let's get that. Doom, 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 doom. Ah, I'm showing you guys someone else's address. Let's not do that. It didn't really show his address, but it had his zip code. So add to list, Fem Yoga wish list. Now I'm just doing my work while I'm live. I crashed and came back to chargers. Maybe. And now we have new chargers on the list. Boom! Oh, you guys can't see how much they cost. Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, $10.99. Ta-da! So yeah, different ways you can support the channel. Keep us going and growing. You guys are awesome. Wake up. Hi Rick from Vancouver, Canada. Mostly using debt as leverage though, so more risk. Yeah, I've seen people make $1 million in real estate in 5 years. In stocks, it's more like 20 years. Well, if I had invested 500, or if I had invested $1 million in Twitter a year ago, I would have made $1 million in 1 year. So your argument doesn't stand up against that, because it's about percentages, right? So if you get a good enough return, it doesn't matter if it's from real estate or from stocks or from hair ties, like I was talking about earlier. It's about the percentage, right? But you mean what, they made $1 million from like $0 or something? With other people's money? I just don't like that technique. I don't know what's up with me on that. How much? If you had invested $1 million, oh, from 2,000 to $1 million, you've seen people do that you know, or like people say they do that on the internet. Hi, David. I mean, if you know someone that's doing that, I would just ask them to mentor you. Just like work for them for free, because it's totally worth it. All you need is $2,000 to make $1 million in 5 years. Psh, I would do that. That's a no-brainer. I would be working for that person full-time as their free volunteer worker. People say it. People say it. Josh, I'm triggered. People say it. Who says it? Hey, Trevor. Hi. Hi. Hey, Brian. Oh, you guys are all watching on YouTube. Thank you. We have Donna, RD, Brian, Trevor. Love it. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube. It helps so much. We are 800 something hours away from being monetized on YouTube. We've been pushing for this all year. We're hoping to get it done by the end of the year. We would have to have 98 hours of content watched every week, solid, through the end of this year to have it done. But I think we can. I've been watching my own videos. Please go to my YouTube channel, watch my videos too. This video is almost over. You can watch the replay of this on YouTube as well, which would be like extra helpful. But if you go to femyoga.com, click contact, or right there on the top, you'll see the YouTube buttons and Periscope, Twitch, Goodreads, wherever you want to follow me. You can sign up for the book reviews. You can support the channel. You can sign up for monthly sponsorships and get entered to win $100 on the 17th. And remember, in less than 2 hours, we have Lizzie Bear coming live on the channel to do sexual health and wellness for an hour. So come on in, show her the love, show her the support, ask your questions about sexual health and wellness. She's very professional in that industry. And remember, if she gets over a certain amount of super hearts, she gets bonus pay. So it's a way that you can support multiple broadcasters at once. We out here. Already had YouTube open, was highly convenient. Yes, I'm so glad, Trevor. Super risky, but in theory it's possible. Take out a 40K home equity line, use that to buy another house. Right. If you have experience, if you know how to pick buildings well, I'm sure you could make money off of it. It's not my expertise. Did I go somewhere and then come back? When? Just now? I'm here. Don't invest in weed companies now, crazy valuation. You know what, Johnny? I totally agree with you on that. I looked at like 20 different weed companies. I wasn't impressed with any of them, and I was just like, I don't see what all the fuss is about. I do think the cannabis industry and marijuana industry will be a huge industry and is a huge industry right now. But for me, investing is very speculative because it is such a new industry. We don't have a lot of financials to go back on. It's a very high risk investment. So just know that going into it. And there's tons of competition. It's really hard to tell who's going to rise and be the top supplier, you know. And it's still illegal in a lot of places in America. So Canadian pot stocks maybe, but again, Canada has a very socialist type government system, so they're regulating all of that. So is it a good investment? I wouldn't say it is. And Johnny wouldn't say it is either. And Johnny said he does this for a job. I don't do this for a job yet, but we're working on it. I did it as a job tonight, talking about it, Now I just have to put it to action. So we'll talk more about the book maybe tomorrow. We have that split screen interview at 4 p.m. tomorrow after Lorena's show from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then Chris Angeles will be on Tuesday night. So we have, like, you guys are going to see not only me, but you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4 different faces over the next 48 hours. That makes me so happy. Does it make you happy? Ah! I've been wanting to get this channel live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We are so far from making that happen, but our next step is like getting someone else on the channel every single day. That will be a milestone, like having that 7 shows. Right now we have 5, so we only need 2 more, and hopefully they'll land on those days we don't have anybody. But right now I am working on a musician who I'm thinking is leaning towards Mondays, but regardless, 7 shows is my next step. 7 shows running consecutively on the channel, being managed, being paid, budget is good, income is good, make sure everything works, all our ducks are in a row, and then we're going to keep growing that. So if you want to help us do that, please go over to the website femyoga.com and click support, because it's not free. They don't do it for free, which is good. They value themselves, and so do I. And so do you guys. Knowledge is useful, but it's not what gets you wealthy. Right, yeah, you gotta actually do something with it, right? Like, my spreadsheet is beautiful, but it doesn't make me money. Oh my god, I didn't realize we hit 20,000 super hearts, and I just knocked my water bottle over. Hi, human feces. Thank you for the super hearts. Turn your volume down. Actually, I'll mute it. Did it mute? Thank you for the super hearts. I don't know why I don't mute it more often when I do cash cannons. That's a pretty good idea. We shoot off the cash cannons on this channel every time we get to multiples of 20,000 super hearts. So 20,000, 40,000, 60,000, 80,000, 100,000. 100,000 super hearts a day is our daily goal. We have not at all been anywhere near hitting that target in the month of November, but we're hoping that it'll be possible. So if you guys want to contribute super hearts to this channel, it helps us a lot. If we get 100,000 a day, that is $3 million a month, which is a $350 bonus from Periscope at the end of the month, plus all of the income that we get from the super hearts, which is 66 cents for every 1,000 super hearts we receive. So we work hard for it. Appreciate you for noticing, taking interest, taking value. I want to say a huge thank you to the top contributor super hearts in this broadcast, Mr. Josh. Thank you, fellow Floridian. Thank you, Brian, for over 3,000 super hearts. Thank you, Finley, for over 1,000. I feel like I didn't even see you comment this whole time. Finley, are you even awake? She's like, I was hoping we weren't talking about investing, but whatever. Shay, thank you for over 1,000 super hearts. Thank you, Shara, for the super hearts. Good to see you. I feel like I miss you guys. Spasiba Alex for the super hearts. Thank you, Derek, for the super hearts. Thank you, Scott, for almost 2,000 super hearts. And you're not on the screen anymore. And thank you, my favorite Joe, Tyla, Danny, and the other Alex man for all the super hearts. Thank you, Brian, Josh, Owen, Saul, Franco, and Shun for the regular hearts. Thank you, everyone who supports the channel on the website. Thank you. Just thank you. You get it, right? Thank you. You got it? Thank you. That doesn't look right. That's not what it normally does. What's happening? Why is it like that? There we go. This has been a moment in time with Taylor. Hey, Kevin. Everything is good. We're just signing off. Good to see you. Bye, Kyle. Have a good night. Good night, guys. Oh my gosh, on the West Coast, it's only 6:47. I feel late. I was up really early today, so hopefully we'll be in the day shift for a little while. Get some sunshine, get some daytime scopes, appeal to different audiences. And hey, we did this early enough. I think your brain could handle the financial information. We finished before 10 p.m. We went for 2.5 hours. Thanks for making this all possible. Love you guys. I'll see you back tomorrow with Catherine. Oh, sorry. First it'll be Lorena at 1 p.m. I won't be here. And then at 4 p.m. I'll be on split screen with Catherine of Tranquil Me app. So make sure to check that out. You can check out my YouTube playlist for all the different guests and interviews I've done, like Andy Dick, Zach Cookman, and a lot of other Periscope broadcasters. You guys are awesome. I'll see you later. My lips are chapped. This hurts. I need chapstick. Okay, bye.